I'm right here in Miami. I'm right here in Miami. Come get me, arrest me, perp walk me, put me on the news, tell everyone I'm a human trafficker. You think I'm not versed? You think I'm not ready? I'm a Navy SEAL in this shit. Come get me, raid my house, take my stuff. You think I sleep with a full phone full of evidence? You think I don't wipe my phone every night? You think I'm dumb? Come get me, arrest me.
Breaking, Andrew and Tristan Tate have been arrested in Miami.
I'm right here in Miami. I'm right here in Miami. Come get me, arrest me, perp walk me, put me on the news, tell everyone I'm a human trafficker. You think I'm not versed? You think I'm not ready? I'm a Navy SEAL in this shit. Come get me, raid my house, take my stuff. You think I sleep with a full phone full of evidence? You think I don't wipe my phone every night? You think I'm dumb? Come get me, arrest me.
Breaking, Andrew and Tristan Tate have been arrested in Miami.
I'm right here in Miami. I'm right here in Miami. Come get me, arrest me, perp walk me, put me on the news, tell everyone I'm a human trafficker. You think I'm not versed? You think I'm not ready? I'm a Navy SEAL in this shit. Come get me, raid my house, take my stuff. You think I sleep with a full phone full of evidence? You think I don't wipe my phone every night? You think I'm dumb? Come get me, arrest me.
Breaking, Andrew and Tristan Tate have been arrested in Miami.
Christian Benavidez is there with details on the new charges. Christian.
Good evening, Jerika. The Tate brothers were taken into custody as they were heading to a boxing event that one of them was set to co-host here in Miami. They've indicated that they're likely going to fight those extradition charges back to the United Kingdom.
U.S. Marshals arrested notorious social media influencers Andrew and Tristan Tate in Miami on Saturday, stemming from recent developments in the U.K. Authorities there, who already had a case against the duo, say 4 more alleged victims of the brothers came forward with accusations of rape, sex trafficking, assault, child and extreme pornography,
bringing the total number of charges faced to 59. The charges relate to 7 victims spanning a period from 2010 to 2017.
The men are part of the so-called manosphere, boasting millions of followers and selling online courses on masculinity. In 2022, the Tate brothers were arrested in Romania on rape, human trafficking, and sexual exploitation charges. The case did not go to trial but remains open. Last year, the brothers left Romania for Florida, and state officials announced a probe into their activity. The Tate brothers deny all allegations. Their attorney tells CBS News the world knows Andrew and Tristan Tate are innocent.
We've yet to be convicted of any crime in our lives ever.
The Tate brothers are set to face a judge as early as tomorrow. Legal experts have said that this will likely be a lengthy legal battle over extradition. Jerika.
Christian Benavidez in Miami. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining me. Let me know if there's any issues hearing or seeing me. This is the first stream that I'm doing for MilkBarTV Live. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while. So the plan is to do a weekly stream. I've been procrastinating for so long, making excuses for why I haven't done it yet. But with the Tate brothers getting arrested yesterday, I thought, what better occasion than to do it now? So this is going to be it's going to be an interesting stream. We're going to go through what happened yesterday with their arrest. We're going to be discussing what happens now, and also everything that's led up to this point, including all of their other ongoing criminal charges and investigations. So there's plenty to discuss. I'm actually going to, I've got Gadget here. I'm going to bring him up in a couple of minutes. He's someone who's also been covering the Tate brothers for a long time, even before me, I think. So we're going back a while. But you know, it's actually an anniversary. So 3 years ago to the day was coincidentally when I put out my first video on Andrew Tate. And that video went very viral. It got 12 million impressions. Andrew Tate blocked me immediately, and it got so viral, he decided to unblock me and reply and say that he was going to do a response video, which he ended up doing on Rumble. and then he blocked me not long after that again. I'm going to play just a little bit of this video. It goes for 6 minutes, so I'm not going to play all of it, but I still think it's a pretty good introduction to Andrew Tate, what I believe is the reality of Andrew Tate, including the criminal accusations against him. Now, I should point out right at the start for anyone who's new to this account that Andrew Tate is suing me for defamation. So I do need to, we in fact, I've got Murder by Crayons as well. So he's here. I'm going to bring him up as well. So all three of us, Andrew Tate is suing for defamation. That lawsuit's been going on for a bit over a year. There is something that's a little bit sweet about the fact that he's suing us in Florida and that he was arrested in Miami. But we can discuss that. I'm going to play just a little bit of this video that I made 3 years ago to the day. And it was my first video exposing Andrew Tate. So I'll play a little bit of that, and then I'm going to bring up Gadget and Crayons.
That's a really good question. I'm charged with being the head of an organized criminal group, which is in charge of recruiting girls to make TikTok videos.
They face charges which include human trafficking, rape, and forming a criminal gang to sexually exploit women.
OnlyFans is the best hustle in the world.
Are they accusing you of using violence or?
No. They're accusing me of using the lover boy method, coercing them by being nice. I don't mention webcam until after I've had sex with the girl. If you're on dates and you're trying to mention it and shit, it just doesn't work. It puts them off. I'd never do that. That's disgusting. I'm not a whore. It's just not gonna work. You continue as normal, no mention of webcam. You fuck the girl. After you fuck the girl, you do the PhD test. So yeah, on CobraTate.com, I have my PhD program, and that is PhD is a pimp and hose degree that I'm.
Clever.
And
Clever.
That teaches basically how I got girls, how I met girls, how I got girls to like me, how I got girls to fall in love with me to work on webcam for me. Oh, and you're always working. Why don't you work for me so we spend more time together? Work for you doing what? So I'll have a webcam business. Oh, I don't want to do that. So okay, I know you don't want to do that, but listen. Come, let's have a meeting. Let's just talk about it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Fine. But let me explain it to you properly. In fact, I'll bring one of the girls who works for me. Your bottom bitch is the one who does the selling. You don't do the selling. The girl has to hear it from a girl. And this is where your bottom bitch has to be trained. That's why I said it's so important to have a good first girl. Because that's what I did. That was my MO, was find girls, make them love me, and make them work for me. This girl's like, okay, well, I'll try it. Put both girls on camera together the first day. So the new girl can sit there and just sit with the other girl and get drunk. Give him a bottle of vodka.
First night that I worked for him, Andrew bought me like 5 bottles of wine. So I got completely drunk because I'd never done webcam work. So I was very, very nervous.
And that's how I got rich. So that teaches everything I know from start to finish about not only getting girls, not only obtaining them, but retaining them. Because that's a completely different game as well.
And over time, I just built up this big little empire of webcam girls. At one point, I had 4 locations, 75 girls working for me. I'd take around half of the money, around 50%.
You take 50%.
Around 50%.
They thought they were on 50%. And I said that the disparity is because of taxes.
He would just pay me a flat fee of £15 an hour.
We got to the point where we had these guys falling in love with my models, serious, big time in love, right? Sending crazy money. And they were convinced they were going to meet the chick. This is almost where I kind of felt bad. Because they're like, can we meet? I've sent you $200,000.
But when you look at the money that I was actually bringing in, it just doesn't even scratch the surface.
I had these guys selling their houses, life savings, loans, all of it to me. Give me it all. I was all about trying to get paid. Like I used sex as a tool to make women love me so they'd obey me and live in my house to make me money. That's what I wanted. So I was a pimp in that sense.
All right, so I think that's a pretty good look. You get a bit of a picture. If you're completely new to Andrew Tate, that gives you a little bit of insight. I'm gonna bring up Crayons and Gadget now. All right, hey guys, how you doing? Let me know if you can hear me.
Loud and clear.
We can hear you. Yep.
Right. Now, I just want to quickly, before we get started, I want to just bring up our fundraiser. Here's the page for our fundraiser for the lawsuit. I'm going to just be, bringing this up from time to time because this is still ongoing, and we can discuss the arrest and if this has any implications for our lawsuit. But this is still ongoing. It's been going on for over a year now that we've been battling the Tate brothers in court in Florida against what I believe is extremely frivolous defamation lawsuit. And I personally believe that it's their attempt to get some kind of revenge or to silence our coverage of their criminal cases. So this is the page here. So if you go to givesendgo.com/free speech versus Tate, you can find it. Now this has their lawsuit there. But anyway, you can donate there now. So as you can see, we've raised over $59,000 since last year. I would love to get to $60,000 by the end of this stream. And when you donate, you can leave a message. If you'd like to do that, I'll read every single one of these messages, so I'll highlight them. And all the support we appreciate. We're so overwhelmed by the amount of support that we've received. The fact that we've been able to raise almost $60,000 is incredible, just from all people like you who've just rallied behind us to fight back. We couldn't have done it without you. And we've been winning. The case was dismissed without prejudice in December, but they've amended the lawsuit, so it's still ongoing. But we can come back to this. We can cover the lawsuit first. Let's talk about the arrest that happened yesterday. Oh my gosh! I was out with my family having lunch, and we were looking at buying our first family car when this dropped. So I was trying to catch up on what was going on and post, and I was looking at both of your pages. But I'd love to get both of your reactions. Gadget, let me start with your reaction, and then we'll go to you, Crayons. And Crayons, you can give us a bit of a more in-depth analysis and explanation of what's going on and what's going to be happening even today. So Gadget, I'll throw to you. What's your reaction to them getting arrested?
Yeah, so I literally woke up to the news. I was I think I literally woke up like an hour after the news dropped. So I first woke up thinking, gee, this happened like 8 hours ago, but it was quite recent. And I was shocked just because, or very surprised, I'd say, just because the previous agreement, the extradition agreement to the UK, was agreed by Romania to go into effect after the Romanian case. And many of us, including myself, had been urging, campaigning, for the UK to step in and make that extradition immediate because the Romanian case was dragging on so much. And the fact that it actually happened, so that was a big surprise. Was I surprised that more women have come forward and alleged more crimes against the Tates? Absolutely not. That part didn't surprise me. But as far as the UK actually stepping in and making this thing immediate and deciding to take over, that was a pleasant surprise for me.
Yeah, it really came out of nowhere for me. Completely out of the blue. It was they were in Florida in March last year. So for the first time in a long time, they were actually allowed to leave Romania. The charges were not dropped. Crayons will be able to give a rundown of the status of all the criminal charges. But the charges weren't dropped, and they were allowed to leave Romania for the first time in a long time, and they flew to America. And I think a lot of people will remember that the governor, Ron DeSantis, said that they weren't welcome, and the Attorney General immediately said that they were going to begin looking into them and potentially pursuing criminal charges. And even further to that, it was also revealed that the Attorney General's office reached out to the UK because it was already at this point that they had a extradition order in place with Romania. So the UK was already had arrest warrants out for them, and they've been ready to pursue criminal charges and criminal prosecution against them since I believe it was March 2024. So it's been a long time that the UK has actually been wanting to really take the steps forward to potentially prosecuting these guys. And it looked like there was potentially a window last March, but that window closed. Actually, I'll see if I can pull it up, but even James Utmaier, I think his last name is, the Attorney General, he even posted about this, where I think he said how the tables turn. I'll try and find that. But let me throw to you, Crayons. Let's get your immediate reaction, and we can go from there.
Yeah. First of all, I just want to say regarding the fundraiser, I want to thank everyone who has donated, and I want to let everybody know that this isn't just covering us three. The brothers are suing single mothers, they're suing survivors of abuse themselves, and some people need help more than others. So this is kind of a collective fund for everyone. So I wanted to put that out there and let you know that everything that you can do to share this, or if you can donate to it, it's greatly appreciated because it helps more people than you actually know. So I wanted to thank everybody for that. Secondly, I want to say I'm a little bit ill today, so apologies if I'm a little scratchy and not as sharp as I usually am.
Are you a bit hungover from celebrating?
Yes, that's what it is. I am hungover from the celebration that has not stopped. Well, we knew it was coming. We just didn't know when it was coming. I think everybody knew because the UK said that they had expanded their investigation into these guys. So we knew at some time they were either going to announce that the investigation was closing with no charges, or they were going to bring charges. So this idea that charges came out of nowhere and they just made them up and they fabricated new charges because they lost this or they're trying to stop a US civil case or whatever, that's ridiculous. This has been coming. We just didn't know when, and we didn't know the extent of what it was going to be. I am surprised. Well, I'm not surprised. I was a little bit, when I saw that he was being charged, Tate specifically was being charged due to allegations of indecent images of a child and extreme pornography. I knew exactly what that was for. I think everybody knows exactly what that is for. Romania is charging him for the same alleged victim, and that charge is trafficking in minors, alleging he trafficked her when she was 17 years old into online webcam pornography. And it looks like, based on all the information I have right now, and I want to say that I'm at a point where it's just information overload. So I have a lot of notes here trying to juggle all the cases and investigation in three different countries. But it looks to me like Romania is prosecuting them for the entire trafficking chain for this particular alleged victim who was allegedly underage at the time. And the UK appears to be prosecuting him for the content that he allegedly produced with this woman during a particular time. So it looks like they're hitting this from both ends based on the evidence that they can prosecute on in those particular jurisdictions, which is a smart move to do. People say, well, why didn't the UK prosecute him for trafficking her as a minor in the UK? They don't have to do that. You know, these countries can work together. They have agreements that they can work together on things and say, okay, well, who can do this and who can do that? And they can work together. All these countries can work together to do that sort of a thing. So was I surprised? I was surprised in the timing. And I have a theory, and I'm speculating here, fully speculating. We expected the new Romanian indictment about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks, something like that. And we know that the Tates were brought up on new charges, allegedly days before, and I put days in air quotes, days before that new indictment was supposed to come. And those charges include complicity in trafficking a minor, where they brought Tristan into the loop for allegedly trafficking the same woman when she was underage, continued human trafficking, witness tampering. They're alleging that the brothers allegedly influenced dozens or over a dozen women into not cooperating with police or changing their stories, money laundering offenses, and removing seized assets. And I believe they tried to sell or move some assets that essentially DCOT had in their possession, and they weren't allowed to. So they picked up those additional charges, and we expected an indictment within days, and it didn't come. It didn't come. I went to all of my sources. I said, hey, when's the indictment coming? And everybody said radio silence. We're not sure. I have a theory that Romania and the UK and the United States cooperated to allow them to feel safe to travel to a jurisdiction where they could get snatched up. That's my theory. I have no evidence to prove that, other than things that were supposed to happen didn't happen. They were allowed to leave. They were caught off guard in the United States. And it's highly likely, because we know that they sent letters to the UK asking if they were to travel to the UK if they're going to be arrested. And the UK said, we can't guarantee that. And I suspect that they would have their lawyer ask before they go to the US as if it's safe to go there. Again, speculating here, but they were probably told it was safe. Their lawyer didn't know. But at a higher level, I suspect that this may have been coordinated. Look, let's just call it what it is. Romania, based on everything we've seen out of Romania, I don't think they are equipped to handle these guys.
Yeah, I've somewhat. It's been a while since I've had, a lot of confidence in Romania. Let's just put it that way. But I look. I mean, the way you saw Andrew Tate flinch when the federal marshal, is that right?
Yeah, U.S. Marshals.
U.S. Marshals. When they approached him, it's like he clearly had absolutely zero clue.
Terrified.
And Gadget, I only saw today that you did a post where you pointed out that it looks like he attempted to hand off his phone to his bodyguard.
Yeah.
The New York Post also covered that. They noticed that. They have an article on him trying to hand his phone off to the security guard who refused it, and then it ended up being dropped on the ground and picked up by someone else. We haven't identified, nobody's identified who that gentleman is yet who picked it up. Some people say that he was undercover working with U.S. Marshals. Some people have said it's part of his crew. We don't know. Other people have said that he walked towards the marshals to give him the phone. So we're unsure what happened with that. But look at those shoes. Most importantly, what is he wearing? Imagine getting arrested by U.S. Marshals and going to jail in Miami, Florida, looking like that. And I have to ask,
this
because I know Andrew Tate's legal team is listening, because they're trying to grab any possible thing they can. And I have to ask you guys honestly, if you can ask Andrew if they make that shirt for men, because that's obviously not a man's shirt.
Well, we've seen Joseph McBride's listening. Hi, Joseph. We've seen him try to emulate. We've seen Joseph try to emulate these tight fits, which are even less flattering on him. So he probably thinks it's great.
The amount of memes alone that have come out of Tate's outfit, amazing. Amazing. All right, so let's.
There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, let's address how things immediately look now in terms of this extradition, and then I think we can branch out into what are the specific criminal charges that they're facing. So maybe Crayons, maybe you can tackle that.
Okay, so the brothers were arrested by U.S. Marshals in Miami, Florida on Saturday, as everybody knows. It's all over the internet, on a sealed federal warrant after the Crown Prosecution Service announced it was seeking their extradition. For everyone saying that this is unlawful and they can't do this because they're American citizens, your citizenship cannot stop you from being extradited. And they have dual citizenship, not that it even matters, with the U.S. and the U.K. So there are extradition treaties in place for this exact thing. And I know everyone here has heard about an extradition treaty. So for those of you who are saying that it's un-American, well, American law says that they can actually do this. So I just wanted to put that out there. We know that between the two brothers, they now have a grand total in the UK of 59 formal charges. Andrew has 42 charges total in the UK. These are criminal charges, and Tristan has 17. And this covers 7 alleged victims with allegations of rape, human trafficking, actual bodily harm, controlling prostitution, which I believe is kind of like pimping in a way. And Andrew specifically was charged with indecent images of a child and extreme pornography. So what's happening today is the brothers have been confirmed. They will go before a U.S. magistrate judge in Miami sometime today. They're currently in federal detention in Miami, Florida. And their own lawyer, Joseph McBride, said in a press release to one of the media outlets that he expects them to remain jailed for now. So bail for extradition proceedings is it's uncommon to get bail for that. There are special circumstances where you can get it, but it is uncommon. And even McBride thinks that they are going to be denied bail for now. So that's kind of where we're at in terms of what happened, what they've been charged with. We can go deeper into those charges a little bit. And one thing I do want to go just a little bit deeper into the indecent images of a child and extreme pornography.
Before we jump into that,
okay.
have you looked at all into the extradition? How that actually looks, the time frame? So like you said, it's unlikely they'd be denied bail. So they've got a hearing today. Are you able to give any insights into potentially the timeline of how this could look?
It could be a few months or it could be a few years. They're legally allowed to contest the extradition. And then when there's a decision, it's my understanding that they can also appeal that decision. And ultimately, the Secretary of State in the United States will have the decision on this. It's all going to land on his desk at some point. So if they fight the extradition, which I believe I read somewhere that they're planning to, because that's totally the logical thing to do when you have a trial waiting for you, is to try to delay it even further. But they're trying to fight this, from what I understand. And with their resources, they can probably tie this up for quite some time. That being said, the fact that the Bedfordshire Police and the CPS have been so vocal about this, the Bedfordshire Police have even made videos talking about this. And I suspect that they have some level of cooperation already with the U.S. on this. I can't imagine that they would blindly come in here and risking being denied. But we'll see. They have a lot of resources. So, and they have powerful friends, as we found out. That's the reason they have travel privileges in the first place, according to investigations from the New York Post.
Yeah, and for covering the Romanian criminal investigation and proceedings, it has been a long, drawn out thing. It was. Correct me if I was wrong, but it was back, I think it was January 2024 that it looked like it was going to proceed to trial. Yes. And then they kept appealing, and then it was sent back. The indictment was sent back to fix a few things. We can get into that a bit later, but what I'm wanting to highlight is that, and I'll play this clip of Tristan Tate bragging about visiting the UK and they've got nothing on them and it's all bluster. Really, the last place in the world they want to be is in the UK, because it's not going to be like Romania. I'm not sure what the timing would be like, but it would potentially proceed pretty quickly to trial. But also a large thing is that the press is just going to be all over them in the UK. It's not going to be like Romania. And once a lot of these details get out, it's not going to be able to get put back away. There's a lot of things that I think, for those of us who have read the original Romanian indictment alone, just that, if that's any indication of what they've got against these brothers, then the PR, the PR war is well and truly lost, I believe.
Just based on the severity of the allegations, there's a possibility that they'll be remanded and kept in custody during the duration of the proceedings in the UK. That's definitely a possibility. So we'll see.
All right. Well, let's start to get into the charges. I'm not sure how you want to approach this, but I've always been amazed by crayons. I just want to blow some smoke up crayons' ass, because I've always been amazed by.
Blow it.
I've always been like crayons. For one thing, I mean, both of these guys, but the crayons, for my money, has been covering the Tates for longer and more consistently than anyone else. And you have like a Rain Man ability to be able to rattle off all of the criminal proceedings. Now, I'm not sure. This is like a parlor game where it just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Yes.
So I'm interested to see how you go trying to cover actually what is the status of the ongoing criminal investigations, charges. Let rip. I want to see how you go.
I'll second that. Crowns is the GOAT at making very hard, convoluted, confusing court documents very easy to understand. So I'll second that.
Appreciate that, guys. That actually means a lot. Let me start by saying that the only case that has gone to trial yet is their UK civil case for tax evasion, and they lost. That lost. That went to trial and they lost. And a judge found that Tate's engaged in a straightforward tax cheat and ordered the seizure of 2.6 million pounds, I believe. It's how much was taken from them. So that only thing that's ever gone to trial, they lost. So I want to put that out there. Now, I'm going to go through all of them here. Civil cases, criminal cases, because this is an absolute web of legal chaos. One case went to trial, UK tax evasion. They lost. They lost money on that, a couple million. They also sued Meta and they sued TikTok. The Meta case was thrown out by the judge, just completely threw it out. Ridiculous filing, threw that out. No leave to amend. So that's essentially with prejudice without saying that it's with prejudice. And the TikTok case was sent to Singapore because it was the wrong jurisdiction. And I can't imagine Singapore is going to be very, very, very happy to deal with those guys. Singapore is a very, very strict country. So there's probably nothing going to happen there with a TikTok case. Now, they have multiple criminal cases in Romania. They have the first case that was going to go to trial, but they appealed the decision to not go to trial. And that is, there were cases of allegations of rape and human trafficking, organized crime, and influencing statements. And I believe that was, in instigating violence, I believe, for Tristan on that one. They ended up taking the instigating violence allegation and creating its own case due to the statute of limitations that was running out on that particular alleged crime. So now that is a standalone case in Romania. It's incitement of violence, along with one of Georgiana, who was working for them. She was also charged with the offense, I think, of assault and accessing a computer illegally or something like that. And the allegations are that one of the women who worked for them wanted to quit. And the chat messages also show from the Romanian documents where Tristan is telling Luana and Georgiana to kick her out and throw her out with nothing and hit her if you have to. And Georgiana allegedly took him up on that and beat the hell out of her and threw her out. And in the process, the allegation continues that Georgiana illegally accessed her computer in front of the other girls that were working there and distributed her OnlyFans pornography to friends and family and did it in front of the other girls and told them the next one is going to get it worse. Those are the allegations for that. So now that's a standalone case now. There's a second case that is much, much larger than the first case. And that's where the trafficking in minor charges come in and sex acts with a minor comes in. And prosecutors allege the youngest woman in that case was 15 years old. And she gave quite a scathing statement against the Tate brothers. And apparently there's chat messages that have been extracted off of devices, and there was some sort of a wiretap involved in that as well. And the trafficking in minors charge was for allegedly trafficking a girl who was 17 years old at the time and put her on webcam. And additional human trafficking charges. The second case has 6 additional human trafficking acts for Andrew and 28 additional human trafficking for Tristan specifically. Total in Romania, I believe there's around, looking at all of the documents, there's around 64 total women that DCOT had identified at one time. I don't know how many of those are going to make it into the new indictment that's being written, but 14 of them were still being investigated at the time. So, but total, there were 64 that had been identified by authorities in Romania as alleged victims of the Tate brothers.
So what is the sorry to interrupt. What is the total alleged victim count
in
roughly?
Romania?
All up.
Oh my goodness. Let's see here. So I'm not going to count the 14 that documents showed were still being investigated because I haven't seen them into hold on here. I haven't seen them into the into documents yet. Let's see there. We know between the first and second cases, there were 50 women that are identified, not including that 14, plus the new charges that they were just charged with. And I'm not sure how many of them are in there, but I know with the influencing statement charge, which is essentially witness tampering, they allege Tristan alone influenced 11 of the women to not cooperate with the authorities. So I'm not sure with the new charges that came in, how many more women are there just yet. This is really confusing stuff. So essentially they are now merging the first and the second case to our understanding while separating some of the allegations at the same time. But let's just say there are roughly 50, possibly 55, maybe even more in Romania that DCOT have identified. It's a massive case. Absolutely massive case. So that's Romania. And Romania had them under judicial control, which is essentially, it's similar to bail, but without money. And when the second case came, the judge said, we don't need to put Tristan back under judicial control because the first case judicial control is sufficient. So they were holding on the first case judicial control for Tristan. And then they put Andrew on additional judicial control because of the severity of the allegations regarding minors in the second case. But then the judge removed the judicial control from the first case, leaving Tristan free from judicial control entirely. And Andrew has judicial control for the second case, which means he still has to check in with the authorities, get permission to leave, etc. The U.S. government, according to various reports and a very detailed report from the New Yorker, they uncovered that Richard Grenell essentially pressured Romania into giving them travel privileges so they could travel. So they traveled, and within the first week of being out of Romania, he allegedly attacked Bree Stern. And she in turn sued him for assault and sexual assault, etc. And he has countersued her. That's happening in California. So that's another case. They have sued in Florida, Jane Doe and her parents. They're claiming Jane Doe initiated all of this, which is just absolutely not true, because they were actually under investigation before the arrest came, before the raid came. Documents show that they were under investigation for I believe it was blackmail, pimping, and organized crime before the original Dicot raid happened. And I had that in my timeline. We found that in Romanian documents, but we don't know what happened with that. But it was apparently regarding their casinos.
Yeah,
so they're suing her and her parents.
I'll try and pull it up because you can find in the Romanian press for going back. I feel like it was even years before the initial raid in 2022. Andrew Tate was getting approached by journalists, and it seemed to be in the open what they were doing with the webcamming.
Right.
Yeah. So the other thing as well that I want to point out, with the instigating assault charge with one of the alleged victims, this is a woman who tried to leave, and then allegedly Tristan Tate ordered two of his, as he calls them, bottom bitches, to physically assault her. And she actually fled and went to the police station, the local police station. And she even began to make a complaint. And the police officers actually went to the same training academy as one of these bottom bitches. And they called up and said, "We've got one of your girls here." And they came and picked her up. Now, these police officers were actually then reprimanded. It was then investigated.
It was gentle.
And they were reprimanded for this.
Yeah, I mean, it was essentially a smack on the hand for it, but they were reprimanded for it very lightly. They botched that.
So that's another thing where where things have come out of this. You know, the Tate brothers will continually say, "There's been no convictions. There's been no convictions." But there have been outcomes from what's been going on.
And this particular incident happened long before Jane Doe ever went to Romania. I believe
That's
that
right.
happened in 2021, an entire year before Jane Doe had ever gone to Romania. So there were these incidents that were taking place before they were actually raided. The big raid that everybody saw in April 2022.
And what we're talking about here is, you know, this isn't in dispute. This has been covered. It was even covered by Romanian journalists. Mircea. What's Mircea's last name? Sorry, how do I pronounce it?
Mircea Barbu,
who's done incredible work. In my mind, he's the single Romanian journalist who's actually been thoroughly covering this. And he was the one who actually submitted the FOI to figure out what was going on with these Romanian police officers who didn't take these allegations seriously, and so he was the one who found out that they were actually reprimanded. But as you say, he's the lawyer for the Tate brothers. His press release
in the US. He's the head lawyer. He's the head lawyer in the US.
And as you mentioned before, he blames all of this on the defamation case against Jane Doe,
which is hilarious.
And which I've got up on the screen. I mean, the whole thing's. I think even you did analysis about whether it was AI, which I feel like he's been caught using before. Let me just say that the Tate brothers lawyer is exactly the kind of lawyer that you'd expect the Tate brothers to have. Even just look at his signia. This isn't just because the Odyssey's come out. I imagine he'd have this irregardless. But yeah, as we're saying, he blames all of this on the defamation suit as some sort of because of this defamation suit they took out against Jane Doe, their alleged American victim. That now this is a part of the matrix of conspiracy. But as we're talking about this case with this woman who went to the police station happened before Jane Doe, before she even went to Romania.
So let me go back to that case for a moment. He's originally the case was they tried to have her and another alleged victim prosecuted in Romania for essentially lying about them and filing these charges. And Romania, who has access to all of the evidence and all of the information, they threw it out. They dismissed that. They're like, nope, not having it. So then after that, and you can look at the timeline on this, they took me explaining that they tried to prosecute them in Romania, but it was thrown out. And then afterwards, they filed the lawsuit in the US. They actually used that as some evidence that I tried to defame them, when it's literally just a timeline of events that happened. Absolutely insane. So after that was thrown out, they filed the lawsuit in the United States against 2 alleged victims. One lived in the United States. One of them lived in Europe, and sued the parents of the alleged victim who lives in the United States because she sent them a text message, and they were communicating with her through text from the US to Romania. And they sued a US active Marine because a US Marine called the US Embassy and said, I think we have an American in distress. So the American Marine was very quickly dismissed with prejudice. And the idea behind that is you cannot sue a United States Marine for doing his job. His duty is to protect American citizens. He believed there was an American in distress. He did the right thing according to the law. So he was dismissed. The other alleged victim was dismissed without prejudice. I think it took dismissed without prejudice, I think 3 different times. They kept filing, but eventually she's out of the case. So now it's just Jane Doe and her parents, and that case has moved into discovery.
And so this has been going on. When did that lawsuit actually begin?
In 2023, but part of the new charges in Romania for, I think, Andrew specifically, he has been charged with witness tampering in Romania, which is called influencing statements, because he's suing her. Because he sent her from jail. Keep in mind, he was in jail where all of his jail calls were recorded, and they had the transcription of his jail calls where he was sending messages to his assistant and his cousin Luke, trying to get those particular girls to tell DCOT that they were lying. They were threatening them with lawsuits and money and all of that. So he got charged for what he's doing to her in Romania. So
yeah, I just want to highlight that. So Andrew Tate was arrested, and then he was in prison, and on the prison phone calls, which, you know, in my mind, it's pretty common knowledge that they recorded. Yeah. He was actually caught then attempting to influence statements, and he was even caught attempting to reach out to politicians as well, right?
Yeah, there was, I believe, 1 or 2 politicians that were recorded in the transcripts where he was trying to reach out and trying to, I think he was telling them to offer him something or tell them they'll be rewarded. I forget what the terminology was, but essentially he was trying to softly bribe, according to those documents, a Romanian politician to help them. Just absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to Anthony Mitchell's given $20, so I want to highlight that. He said, keep up the fight, guys. I'm doing my part. www.conmantate.com. I know what the website is, not affiliated with it. I don't necessarily endorse it, but that's in the description, so I'm gonna read it out. But thank you very much for that, Anthony. So yeah, I would love for us to hit $60,000 by the end of this stream. So every little bit counts. Yeah, so thank you very much, Anthony.
I want to expand just a little bit here before we move on. A lot of people think, and this is the narrative that has been created by their lawyer, and the story that's going around is if we can find Jane Doe. And here's the thing, they filed in Florida. Keep in mind, they filed a case against her in Florida for something she allegedly did in Romania. And what she did in Romania was she gave her statement to the police after the authorities raided the compound and found her, and they asked her, well, how are you here? She gave her statement to the authorities. And while she was there, she sent text messages to her parents and said, I think these guys are trafficking women. me and another girl are gonna try to escape while they're sleeping. So because of that text message and because of what she said to the police, and there were some other chat messages in there as well that they're claiming are defamatory, taken out of context, etc.
Yeah.
But their whole narrative is, and I think their idea is to try to prove that she committed defamation, which is making a false statement of fact. Therefore, they'll be able to discredit her and try to say, well, she was found liable for defamation in Florida. Therefore, the entire Romanian case is built on lies. That's their narrative. But, and I don't think it's going to happen, but let's just say a worst case scenario, a Florida judge who does not have access to all of the Romanian evidence, let's just say he does rule in their favor and says, okay, based on Florida law and based on the evidence in front of me, she committed defamation, right? Even if that happens, there are still over 50 women in Romania that DCOT has identified. So whatever happens to her is completely irrelevant. What they're trying to do, in my opinion, is reframe a narrative to make it look like they are the true victims. That's my opinion of how this is being played out, because it doesn't make sense otherwise.
And this has been going on for a while now. They continually come back to this. They continually use this defamation lawsuit that they launched against this alleged victim. It wasn't that long ago. Was it last year? I can't remember. But Andrew Tate again did a video out of nowhere saying this alleged victim was paid $100,000 or something from
there's no evidence of that. There's no evidence of that whatsoever.
He was saying, I have the paperwork. And then he did a tweet saying, Elon, is it okay if I post the paperwork? Like, why would he tweet that when he knows he doesn't have anything? He doesn't have any proof. It's just ridiculous.
And let me say this. All of these things that are happening in Romania, and all the allegations they're making towards Jane Doe and her parents as being the root cause of all of their problems. And by the way, there's a long list that you can find on my account of all the people they've blamed for their legal problems. They've blamed U.S. politicians, literally they called it the Biden crime family. They blamed MI6. They've blamed about 20 different people now for their legal problems. But Jane Doe and her family has nothing to do with the UK whatsoever. Nothing to do with the UK whatsoever. And that's what they're going to have to deal with now. So if they're extradited to the UK, which I believe they're going to be, I don't know how long it's going to take, months or years, but I believe they will be extradited to the UK at some point. And those are completely different charges with completely different women, and they have nothing to do with Jane Doe. They have nothing to do with Romania. They have to do with things that allegedly took place in the UK. Now, just to give you a full scope, and I didn't even go into all the cases, there are multiple criminal cases in Romania. There are multiple criminal cases in the UK. There's a civil case in the UK. There are multiple civil cases going both directions, and ours is one of them, in the United States. There's also a Florida state criminal investigation into the brothers and a Department of Justice criminal investigation into the Tate brothers. So all of this is going on. I can't even keep track of it all anymore. I need a spreadsheet.
I want to play this video, and this is covering what could potentially be the alleged minor in the new UK criminal charge. Let me play this video. Maybe we can talk a little bit about this. This is Vivian, but let me play it. And actually, do you know what? I'm going to play another one. I'm going to find another one. But this is one that, if you've been following the Andrew Tate story for a while, I think you inevitably become familiar with Vivian. Maybe Crayons, maybe you can just begin talking. Let me find a good video to actually cover this. So Crayons, maybe you can start to just cover Vivian, her role in the webcamming with the Tate brothers. Okay. And then we can discuss the accusations with her being a minor.
Okay. Are you playing a video first?
No, you start. I'm gonna play. I want to find another
okay.
video. Yeah.
Okay. So Vivian is she was Andrew Tate's girlfriend for quite some time, and I believe he said that she was one of the first girls that worked for him. I believe that was the case. And she, according to documents and according to other statements from alleged victims in the remaining case documents, she was also responsible for helping him recruit other women. So she was part of the machine. And Tate has been charged with allegedly trafficking her as a minor, putting her on webcam. And we believe the indecent images of a child charge in the UK is because of her as well. If the dates line up, and as far as we're aware of, she's the only one in that time period that we know of that may have been underage based on all of the case documents that we have and her birthday. Unless there was another minor involved that no one knows about. So that is a possibility. And she was defending him out of the gate. Those of you probably when he was first arrested, you probably remember all these videos that were popping up from these various women saying, "Oh, they're the nicest guys. I'm friends with them, and they would never do something like this." Well, all of those videos we very quickly found out that was a coordinated effort that Andrew was coordinating while he was in jail, and chat transcripts from his jail showed that he was having these communications with Luke, his cousin, instructing him to find people to make these videos. So these videos of Vivian and the other women who were saying, "Oh, I'm not a victim. They're making me say I'm a victim," and all of this stuff. All of that stuff was coordinated according to the documents.
He's just a quick little grab. This is from one of his courses that he taught, and in it he mentions Vivian. Now, to me, the really fascinating thing is that really the whole webcam thing started with Vivian. She was his first girl.
Yeah, that's what I believe, according to him.
So, according to him, that's right. So there is something to kind of come full circle for it to end back with Vivian potentially.
And can I say
there's
this?
a bit of karma there.
Now, I can only speculate because we don't have information. But if she was the first girl that he had on cam, which was according to him, it was, right? This is all based on what he said here. And if we know that in 2014, and we know her birthday because of the Romanian cases, her own father gave a statement to Romania confirming her birthday. And if we know that in 2014, she was 17, and we know that these UK charges go back to 2010, you do the math on that one. I don't know if she's involved in the car charges that go back to 2010 or not, but if she was the first girl that he put on camera, I have a lot of questions.
Here's just a quick clip with Andrew Tate.
Yeah, and that aligns with what he's about to say in this clip.
That's right.
Can't hear it. No audio. There's no audio there. I think when you do a screen share here, you have to select a little audio tab. I was looking at this earlier before I came on.
1 second. All right, let me figure that out.
Yeah, well, you're figuring that out. Somebody asked in the chat, what about Anthony Mitchell's lawsuit? Yeah, so Tate is being sued, I believe, in the state of Nevada, where someone is alleging fraud and other torts against him, and they are apparently digging through his entire U.S. business structure, all the domain names, all of his businesses, and he's being sued for that, for apparently fraud. Yeah, absolutely insane. Lawsuits flying everywhere, criminal cases flying everywhere.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the UK with the Tate brothers. And their history there. First, someone's donated. There are a couple of donations. Someone from Anonymous, $5, and we got Carol W, $20.
Thank you so much.
On your live chat, love your work. All the best in the fight against disgusting excuses for humans. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you, everyone.
Looks like you have a gift in the chat as well. 1,000 gems.
Oh, great. I'll take a look at that in a sec. Yeah, with the UK, that's with Vivian, Andrew Tate, he's been a bit of a shapeshifter. So he was a kickboxer, and then he tried to make it as a reality TV star. And he was on a couple of reality TV programs, including Big Brother. And he actually ended up getting kicked off Big Brother because a video came out with him and Vivian. And in that video, he's performing what he called sex games, where he's whipping her with a belt. There's 2 videos, and in one of them he slaps her as well. I want to keep looking at this screen share, try and figure this out. But if either of you want to just talk about the context around that video and how that potentially relates to the timeline of things.
The video where he's speaking right now?
The video of him slapping around Vivian in the sex games. The one that got him kicked off of Big Brother.
Oh. Gadget, you want to take that, or do you want me to take that?
Sorry, I was just muted. Yeah, we can talk about that. So this video, so it first blew up, as Nathan said, in 2016 when Tate was on Big Brother, and it was reported at the time that was the reason he was kicked off of Big Brother. There's this video of him hitting a woman, everyone thought, with a belt, and abusing her and all sorts. And so when the women in the UK who were suing him, who went to the police back in 2014 and 2015, when they started speaking up in the Vice documentary and whatnot, they said no, everyone thought it was Tate was kicked off because of this video. It was actually because of our investigation, and we went to the police and said, hey, this guy's you're investigating for allegedly doing this to us is on Big Brother. Are you going to do something about it? But anyway, it blew up around 2016. And say, Nathan, well, I'm just going to put a link in the chat. If you can bring this up on screen, I'm going to put it in there right now.
I think he is wrestling with the audio issue, trying to play the videos.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just explain it. So Tate himself, so Tate was interviewed during this time. What do you have to say to yourself about this video? He said it was all consensual. The girl came out and said it was all consensual. We're friends, blah, blah, blah. It was just a sex game, as Crown said. And Tate is on here saying the videos in 2012. I've got tweets up on screen that Nathan can pull up in a minute. The videos from 2012, they cut out all the laughing. Lol, she didn't sell it. I'm still great friends with her. And then he said it in media interviews as well. It was in 2012. It was in 2012. Said this multiple times. Then we learned her date of birth. So because she's part of the Romanian case, and her date of birth was confirmed as September 1997. So for someone born in September 1997, they would have turned 15 in 2012. So we know for a fact that Andrew said that this video of this young girl in lingerie being hit, there you go, there's the tweets there on screen. So Andrew said this. This is not our words. This is Andrew Tate saying the video is from 2012. So he has said this video was filmed in the year that this girl turned 15. So she was either 14 or 15 years old, wearing lingerie, being hit by him, being degraded on camera. So the people that are like, this narrative of this being a Matrix attack is really bizarre to me, just because of the evidence like this. Yeah, if you have anything to add to that, Crayons.
Yeah, I do, because because of okay, Romania and the UK handle things completely different. Romania, they put stuff out to the press, they send documents out, even though some documents might not supposed to go out, they put them out anyway. They dox victim names of all kinds of cases in the country. They'll put their names in the newspapers, or not newspapers, the media. They'll expose their names on the courthouse walls. Romania is really sloppy with how they handle information. The UK, on the other hand, completely different story. That's why we don't actually get into, and we're never going to get into the actual details of the charges, because you don't do that with UK trials. And they tell you not to get into that sort of thing with the UK trials. You have to be careful how you speak about things in the UK. They don't want you to prejudice the trial. So here's what we do know. The charge of indecent images of a child and extreme pornography. 19 charges, and they group these two together. And because we don't have the details, and I wouldn't talk about it if we did, but that means there's 19 charges. That does not mean there's 19 images or 19 videos or 19 children. Under the Crown Prosecution Service charging guidance, those are categories that have been formed into actual offenses. So you have 19 of these, and each one of them, let's just say category A is charge 1, category B is charge 2. Each one of them could have one image or video, or it could have hundreds, or it could have thousands. There's no limit. When I was looking into this, one CPS case that they charged someone involving 3 counts of indecent images of a child, and that involved 515 images. So we don't know exactly how many images or videos are part of this 19 charges. It could be 19, it could be thousands. We have no idea. I'm not going to speculate. I have an idea what I think it is, but because it's extreme pornography as well, and they lump these together, I suspect, based on how that charge is classified, that those videos might have to do with things that are beyond normal pornography, such as non-consensual sex, possibly abuse, possibly choking, possibly beating with a belt. I feel like they've combined these two charges for a reason, because they didn't separate them when they're talking about them. They just say 19 charges of indecent images of a child and extreme pornography. So I think they've lumped these together for a reason. And we don't know how deep that rabbit hole is going to go, but I have a suspicion that it goes pretty deep. Nathan, we can't hear you. Milk bar. Yep. Yeah, and again, 19, the number 19 refers to charges, not the number of files or alleged child victims.
Well, I don't think everyone understands that they're charged. I saw just on my feed, it came up, I think it was like a GB News or one of those British news programs, and they were talking about the Tate case, and they're like, now we need to clarify, they're not charged with anything yet. I'm sitting like, yes, they are. What are you talking about? Yes, they are. They are charged they have 50 plus charges in the UK. I don't know if this is like information from Tate's people, confusing people, but yes, they are charged.
Yeah, I mean, they're masters at that. I believe that they're masters of when we see that time and time, getting ahead of the story, to be able to spin it towards a narrative that fits them, which is really interesting. I mean, anyone who's been covering this for a long time. I mean, both of you guys are great at this, because you'll see them posting something or doing a video where they're talking about something, and usually it's a bit of a hint that maybe something's coming down the pipeline, and they're trying to get ahead of it. They're trying to get ahead of the story to be able to spin it. And that's what's so fascinating about what happened yesterday, is that it seemed like it completely caught them off guard, like what you were saying.
Yeah.
Crayons. I just want to go back to what you were saying, Crayons, about the UK and potentially what these charges are related to the webcam stuff. But a lot of people know that the Tate brothers ran a webcam business, but not a lot of people realize that Andrew Tate actually did pornography as well. There's evidence of that out there.
Unfortunately, yeah.
And as you're saying, you on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we ran across this stuff long before anyone knew that it could be illegal content.
Yeah, even like I say, it's potentially illegal content because it potentially involves him with a minor, which could be what these charges are for. But even with the videos of him with Vivian, which she's in her underwear, but even now, where her age has been confirmed by the Romanian authorities with the home country of Slovakia. So even with those videos, she's not naked in them, but it is, someone who's, it's potentially a 15-year-old in lingerie, getting, beaten and getting slapped and whipped by Andrew Tate. So even now, I won't share that because it's very likely, it looks like it could be with a minor, so that's why it's there's a blurred version that's going around that I'll share. But here's
really quick. I need to step out for a moment. I'll be back.
Yeah, all good. Let me know if you can hear this gadget. This should be the clip that I was trying to play. I'm still trying to work out on the screen share why there's no audio. But this is the clip here. Hopefully this plays.
So Vivian's been with me 6 years. She's completely head over heels in love with me. She wants kids with me, everything.
Right. So this is what we're talking about. So the timeline here, this is Andrew Tate in one of the courses that he sold, and he's talking about the webcam business, and he talks about Vivian, which potentially is the minor that's the alleged victim in the new UK criminal charges. But she has been confirmed to be the minor in the Romanian criminal charges, where he's alleged to have trafficked her as a minor. So here's Andrew Tate talking. You try and follow this and do the maths for yourself, and then we'll just break it down to really just hammer home what he said.
So Vivian's been with me 6 years. She's completely head over heels in love with me. She wants kids with me, everything. When I bring on new girls, I usually pair them with Vivian. Because Vivian's younger. Melissa's like 28, Vivian's like 21. So Vivian's been with me 6 years. She's completely head over heels in love with me. She wants kids with me, everything. When I bring on new girls, I usually pair them with Vivian. Because Vivian's younger. Melissa's like 28, Vivian's like 21.
So he says he's been with Vivian for 6 years, and he then says that she's 21 now. So if you're going to go by this video and what Andrew Tate is saying, he's saying that he's been with her since she was 15 years old. So that's Andrew Tate's own words there.
That's something that I'm very curious to see with these UK charges, because in Romania, he's charged with trafficking her as a 17-year-old, but that's when she moved to Romania from the UK, from what we understand. And we have evidence, including the video we spoke of before, of him being in an intimate relationship with her when she was 14 or 15 years old at the oldest. So it's like, how young is this going to go in these UK charges? I'm not sure if it's just a case of, again, him allegedly putting her on webcam as a 17-year-old, or is this going to go younger and sicker? I don't know, because based on what Tate himself has said, it doesn't sound good at all.
Yeah, I want to get into the civil case in the UK. Let me first, just before we do that, I want to just pull up. Give me 1 second. This is artwork that Andrew Tate commissioned in 2015. So he commissioned someone make this. This is artwork in 2015, and on it has a poem that Andrew Tate wrote, because he's a Renaissance man. Let me read out what the poem says. Big Tate's hoes sell dreams and waste men's time. The men pay to stare because the hoes look fine. Big tits, big ass, women in their prime. We rob these tricks, don't commit no crime. Drain tricks, cash, non-stop money train, a big golden chain, and some pink champagne. The king is queens on a cash-filled reign. Big Tate carries a cane to keep his hoes sane. The money ship sails without a hitch. Smooth sailing, prevailing till we all get rich. If there is ever a problem, if there is ever a glitch, Big Tate won't wait, straight slap a bitch. And here's him with the artwork there that he commissioned. Now, in this artwork, he's even got one of his, he's got a pimp stick.
I mean, it's just a combination of sick and violent and just cringe and embarrassing. It's like these two things combined.
Yeah. I might pull up the video with Vivian. I'll have a look if I can find the blurred version. But in that, he has a pimp stick, which he makes her go get and kiss before he then slaps her. So now this is going back 2015 in the UK. So, you know, there was, you know, women have been going to the police in the UK since as far back as 2013, I believe. 2012, was it? Definitely 2013. And they've been making complaints against Andrew Tate. You know, it's my belief that the UK completely dropped the ball. And, you know, this led, Andrew Tate was pulled in by the cops during this period. And it wasn't long after this that Andrew Tate then, I believe, fled to Romania. And he's not shy about this. He's on camera saying that one of the reasons he went to Romania was because how relaxed the laws were in terms of rape and sexual assault of women. You know, so I believe that there's been a massive failure from the UK criminal justice system to properly investigate and, I believe, attempt to prosecute the Tate brothers. So there is something, you have to give credit to the UK now for finally seemingly get their act together and taking these very serious allegations, taking them seriously and actually doing something about it. Do you want to cover the UK civil case? Because that's directly related here to these women who went to the police and made complaints.
Yeah, well, one thing I was about to say is that it's funny in the Tate's lawsuits against us. I know for myself, and I think some of the others, some of the things they're accusing of myself and others of defamation is just us expressing our opinion that that investigation was not properly handled and that it should be reopened, and sharing the alleged victim's fundraiser for their lawsuits against him. And now all of a sudden, a year or so after the lawsuit was filed, that investigation's been reopened by the authorities. The detectives involved have had an inquiry launched into them. So we've kind of been vindicated with this, with basically the authorities agreeing with what the Tate said was us defaming them. But anyway, but yeah, so this UK civil case, so this really is where it all started. So this is 4 women. There was 3 initial women who went to the police in 2014 and 2015, alleged violent assaults and rapes. And then they really didn't hear back from the police. The police didn't really do anything. They didn't know what was going on. It was dragged on from 2015 until 2019. These women really didn't hear anything. And then the police just passed a file after all these years onto the Crown Prosecution Service. By 2019, the Tates had fled to Romania. So what these police did was waited 4 or 5 years until the Tates had fled and left to Romania, passed a file to the Crown Prosecution Service, and the CPS decided not to prosecute. And really, a lot of this blew up. And I think we can give a lot of credit as well to Matt Shea and Jamie Tarson, who made a series of documentaries and spoke to some of these women, and had them tell their stories in documentaries and in an article for Vice as well. And this is where a lot of people really learnt about the allegations that have been against Andrew Tate for over a decade. And from there, then a law firm, Matthew Jury and his team, basically linked up with these women, and they filed a civil lawsuit, I guess, because they'd been let down by the criminal prosecutions, in my opinion, that they thought, if we're going to get some sort of justice, it might have to be through a civil lawsuit. So they filed a lawsuit against him, and they started raising money to sue him, but also for the lawyers to campaign on their behalf for the criminal case to be reopened. And that's why earlier this year, some listening might have seen news of a criminal case in the UK against Andrew Tate reopened. That's what this was about. So this case that was mishandled, and CPS declined to prosecute in 2019. These women found these lawyers in 2023 and filed this lawsuit. So this has been years. So this was really big news for them, for this criminal case to be reopened. So this trial was set for, when was it initially set for? I can't remember the date exactly off the top of my head, but it was set for early 2027, was it? I can't remember.
I think it was early 2027. Yeah, I think
that's right.
March, I think, in my mind.
Yes. And then it was actually, that's right, it was brought forward until it was going to be in June, I think, this year. So it was brought forward to be in this year. But when the criminal case was reopened, they basically stayed the civil lawsuit until they worked out what was happening, whether they were going to lay charges. So basically the civil case, the civil lawsuit has been postponed, and the criminal investigation into these allegations was reopened. Inquiries were basically, investigations are being done into the detectives involved, who I think, because if you look at the interviews in Vice, the Vice News interviews and whatnot, women spoke about the detectives just not listening to them, like not believing them, because a few of them, not all of them, but a few of them were working on webcam, so they weren't really believed because of that. That's another thing too. Not all of these women were some of them are just women that Tate dated. So people have a misconception that all of the victims were sex workers or on webcam, and they use that to discredit them, but that's not even true. Some of them aren't.
So some of them were just Andrew Tate was like a second date. He took them, he cooked for them, and then allegedly he sexually assaulted, even allegedly raped them.
Yes. And that reminds me, when you mentioned cooking, that reminded me of something. So Tate has, and I'm sure a lot of you in the chat have heard Tate say this, these women don't exist. They're made up victims. They're just making up women. Where are the women? So the talk about the women that Vice News and the BBC have interviewed. Oh, they're not showing their faces. They're not real. Okay, so he said this for years about these women in this case, especially that we're speaking of. So I applied with the King's Bench for both the complaints against Tate and his defense to the claims. And you can do that. It's public. You can pay a fee and then get the claims. So I got the claims, and Tate, what he's saying to the court, so publicly he's saying these women don't exist. They're made up. They're just making up women. There's no victims. what he's saying to the court is, I met this woman in 2009 initially, then Tristan dated her, and I met her at this club. He knows exactly who every single one of them is. He knows exactly where he met them, when he met them. One of them even, he said on the first night that I met her, she cooked me a steak, and then I went for a run, and she said she's studying. This is Andrew saying this to the court. So what the point of this is that what Andrew's saying publicly, things like these women don't exist, what he's saying to the court under oath is very different. So we've already seen Andrew being forced to confirm that he's lying under oath to the court. It's already started happening. The media didn't really pick that up. I think I'm the only one that's really reported this. That he's saying these women don't exist, but then he's giving a detailed memory of them in his defense, and it's saying it's all consensual. So he's denying their allegations, but in doing so, he's proving that he's a liar by saying that they don't exist. So that's something very important for people to keep in mind, because the reason this is so important is because you will hear, well, maybe we won't hear if Tate doesn't get out of prison again, but we have heard Tate say this about other cases. For example, when he was saying this about the Romanian cases, that these are making up victims. I'm like, well, we know that you've lied about this before, and said to the court, yeah, I know her. I met her at this club in this year, and she cooks me this for dinner. So, yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, that's the fascinating thing, is that there's the public persona with Andrew Tate, which is all bluster and the Matrix is attacking me. But he's a very, very different person when he's in court or when he's going through the legal process. I've been covering Candace Owens. I'm sure plenty of people are familiar with my work doing that, and she's very, very similar in that way, where outwardly she'll be talking about the Macrons have hired hitmen to kill her, and then meanwhile, she's being sued by the Macrons in American courts. You'd think that would be something that would bring up with the judge if the people suing you and you have evidence that you claim are trying to kill you, but yet she doesn't bring that up. Doesn't even attempt to enter that into the legal process with the defamation lawsuit, and it's very similar with the Tate brothers. There's one. This is something that's very, very interesting. This idea that there's no victims, or all the victims are lying. When you actually listen to what the alleged victims are claiming happened, when you actually read the Romanian indictment, when you look through it, what becomes very clear is that there's a pattern that goes back from 2013 even up till Bree Stern last year, where over and over and over women, by my count, I believe that there was over 10. And this even includes Lawrence Southern as well. So there's over 10 women spanning over a decade across multiple continents, women that have never met each other, some women that don't even speak the same language, who all allege a similar pattern of abuse, where Andrew Tate, specifically, they claim that Andrew Tate strangled them. Some of them even to the point of being unconscious while they're having sex, and that he continued having sex with them while they were unconscious, and they came back around. Several of these women even sustained medical injuries, including burst blood vessels in their eyes. And there is even, according to the Romanian indictment, there's medical certificate. Lawrence Southern also claims that she went to the hospital, and she has proof of this. So, you are looking at, like I said, over 10 women who are specifically alleged that Andrew Tate has strangled them. That's, how that can be a conspiracy when these women have never even met each other, and it spans over a decade across multiple countries, the UK, Romania, and America. I don't know. To me that speaks very, very loudly about someone who I believe is a predator. That's my personal feelings.
The very telling thing about it all as well is that this is much of it before Tate had any of this fame that people are saying, or they're just trying to silence him because he's an influence on young men and all this, right? So these women, we went to the police, it's a fact, in 2014, 2015. No one knew who Andrew Tate was in 2014. He was some kickboxer, and not a good kickboxer, in Luton that was running a webcam studio, a self-confessed pimp. He was a webcam pimp in Luton. And so these women went to the police back then. We know that. He was kicked off Big Brother in 2016. He wasn't famous then. It wasn't Celebrity Big Brother. It was him trying to get famous by going on Big Brother. And Lauren Southern, this was in 2018. No one knew who Andrew Tate was in 2018. It's for a fact that her and Tommy Robinson and a few of Tommy Robinson's crew went to Romania in 2018. She has proof of going. She alleges that he assaulted her in a similar way with the strangulation involved. She has proof of going to the medical facilities and all this, and that's been verified by the New York Times and multiple places. Multiple people have verified and that she spoke to them straight after about this in 2018. There's tweets from Kaylin Robertson, who's actually a guy that does a lot of reporting on Ukraine and whatnot now, but he was there at the time, and he's tweeted in 2022 that someone I'm close to was assaulted by Tate, well before Lauren went public with all this. And Tommy Robinson has said, I'll get into this part for a while, I won't, I'll briefly cover this, but Tommy Robinson has said that Lauren went back to see Tate so many times and had a relationship, and so she's lying and all this. So she has evidence basically with her passport and travel documents proving that that's not true. She never went back to see Tate. And I've verified that myself as well. I've gotten access to that. I've fact checked that it was her lawyers, and they've signed this under oath that they have seen evidence that she never went back to Romania.
Right, with a passport, right? A passport shows that she didn't visit back.
Exactly. So all of this, so what I'm saying is none of this is Tate got famous and all these women are saying these things. This is all from before he was famous. People that couldn't have possibly known each other from different countries, in different countries, describing the exact same type of assault. So to me, it's very hard for me to believe that they all made it up, just independent of each other.
Okay, let me know. Can you hear this, Adrian?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is. I'm gonna play this compilation. Actually, before I do that, I just want to just give a shout out to Edie Marie, who gifted 5 memberships. Edie, I did a video with Edie just last week. She does this amazing character where she plays a insane Candace Owens fan. That's the only kind that Candace Owens has. Anyway, so she does this great character. So I did a video with her and this character, which I think she'll be dropping soon. Anyway, so go to her Twitter account is I think at Edie Low, but I'll share that anyway. So thank you for that, Edie. Now let me play this video. This is what we've been talking about with Andrew Tate and Vivian. So this is 2 videos with Andrew Tate and Vivian, and then I believe there's another video as well with a woman or a girl who is actually yet to be identified. But I think this is a bit of an insight into who Andrew Tate actually is. And as we've covered, according to Andrew Tate himself with the timeline, Vivian is 15, maybe even 14 in these videos. Now, they are blurred. She's not naked in these videos. She's in lingerie, but they are blurred because she legally potentially is a minor. But I'm going to play this. It goes for about nearly 3 minutes, but for those who are defending Andrew Tate and are saying there's zero evidence against him and, the Matrix is attacking him or whatever nonsense like that, just watch this and just think that this, according to Andrew Tate, this girl is 14 or 15.
Tell me you love me. Say it like you mean it. Say it like you mean it. You message one other guy ever again, whether we're together or not. You understand me? You understand me? Say it then. Say I understand. Say it like you. Say it again. Say I understand. Show everyone how pretty you are. Give me the knees and show everyone how pretty you are. Look at the camera. Show everyone how pretty you are. Show the camera your tattoo. What does it say?
Tate.
Why does it say Tate?
Because I'm his whore.
You are my whore.
Yes.
Get my pimp stick. You're gonna kiss my whore. Why's your ass got a bruise on it?
Because my daddy hits me.
He hits you?
Yes.
Why would he hit you?
Because I'm his whore and he does as he wants.
Listen. Go tell the camera that I beat you and you don't do as I say. Don't say it in English, proper English, no Slovak. Say it to the camera.
He beats me when I don't listen.
That's not what I said. Say, is it? I said when I said tell the camera I beat you when you don't do as I say. I didn't say the word listen. Did I say the word listen? Did I say the word listen? You stupid bitch. I didn't say the word listen. Did I say listen? Did I say listen?
No.
Look at the camera. Did I say listen?
No.
Did I say listen to you? Did I say it?
No.
Did I say it? Look at the camera. This is what happens. You don't listen. Look at the camera. Why are you getting hit? Why are you getting beaten? You don't listen. You do as I say.
What are you moaning about, woman? Bruises. Why? Why? Beaten with what? With what?
You have.
A belt because you're a jerk. Show me the bruises. 1, 2, 3. Oh, baby. Oh, poor thing. I have an idea. You know what my idea is? You want to know what my idea is? That's right, lock the door, you knew I was going to beat the out of you. If you behaved, I wouldn't have to hit you, would I? You don't. Get out. You can't stay in there forever.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bit of insight into who Andrew Tate is. And here are the posts, gadget, where he's talking about this video here. So videos from 2012. And yeah, the timeline shows that, according to the timeline, Andrew Tate himself said Vivian would have been 15, 14 at this point in time. He would have been in his mid-20s. I've got photos I might pull up as well where you can actually contrast what Vivian looked like before she was with Andrew Tate, and then what she looked like after Andrew Tate with breast implants and the plastic surgery and all of it. There's also chats as well that are well worth looking at, where he talks about one of the alleged victims, and he talks about meeting her and her being a Christian and a God-fearing girl who'd Only ever been with one man, and Andrew Tate himself, with his war room, which was actually, Gadget. Do you want to maybe talk a little bit about the war room, and what the war room was, and then maybe you can talk a little bit about your work with the real world, because this is the important thing, is that with Andrew Tate, you're not only looking at someone who was a self-confessed pimp who, it's no secret, ran a webcam business, and he even taught courses on how to get women into webcamming, into doing pornography. So he taught the methodology, where, according to him, he got them to fall in love with him to then get them into webcamming. But then you also have the War Room, which is this larger network that he built, where he then compared notes and how would you describe it? You're talking about this network of other guys who then use the same techniques that he used, that Andrew Tate used and taught, to then get women, girls into pornography as well themselves. So this is where it's not just Andrew Tate alone doing these alleged things to women, and pimping them out, but it's also this larger network of other guys emulating and doing the same thing that potentially spreads quite globally. Why don't you speak a little bit about that, Gadget?
Yeah, I mean, it's far bigger than Andrew Tate. It's so I guess the War Room, it's presented as Tate's, I guess, network for men, where they'll network and they'll exchange business ideas and all these things. But a major part of the War Room, and especially before they end up getting charged with human trafficking and all these things, was, as Nathan was saying, Andrew teaching his methods of recruiting women and girls into webcam pornography. And in my opinion, it's just textbook trafficking, sex trafficking. I mean, you can't. So the big part of it was they would themselves do this and teach how to get girls into a romantic relationship with the intention of putting them on webcam and having them producing pornographic content. And they would put them in houses together to do these things. They would, according to Tate's own words, defraud them, whether it was, say, tell them that they're going to take this percentage of money, but they would take a higher percentage and control all of their accounts on OnlyFans and the webcam platforms, or just take 100% of it. Tate has talked openly about this, that he would take 100% of some of the women's earnings on these platforms, which, again, all of this is illegal. And he's on video. This is how you do this. This is what I do. This is not our words. This is his words. But the big thing is, and I think maybe the first person to really cover, apart from Matt Shea back when, is probably Heidi Blake in her recent New Yorker piece, probably touched on this, that the media don't really understand, I think, that this isn't just a couple of guys being charged with these crimes. It's these guys created a global network of guys doing this. So one of the Tate's friends, he goes by Joe Lampton, but his name's Vlad Obu. So in their group chat messages that all leaked, this guy's being very proud of being very violent. For example, he said, when this one girl who was working on him on webcam would annoy him, he hit her over the head with a keyboard. He's just talked about hitting girls openly. And he's charged, and his trial has actually started in Romania for human trafficking. So we've had one of Tate's proteges that he's taught already started facing trial for trafficking. I suspect he won't be the last. So yeah, it's it's really bizarre in the way of how open all these people were and how invincible, how untouchable they were, that they thought that they could just put themselves on camera and talk about all these illegal, in my opinion, ways of recruiting women and girls into pornography, into sex work. And one thing Tate has said a lot is that all these videos of him teaching these things, that's not in evidence. They're in evidence in Romania. So his self-snitching videos that I guess they get called a lot, him openly admitting to crimes, is in evidence and is being used against him, and I believe will continue to be used against him because he's very open about these things. There was something else I was going to say.
I want to highlight as well that so our givesendgo.com/free speech versus Tate is down there. So just a reminder, the Tate brothers are suing me and you, Crayons, and several other people for our coverage of their ongoing criminal cases. So we've been fighting that for over a year. So the link is there on the banner down the bottom. So if you can support us, the only way we're able to fight it is through people's generosity. So that would be very much appreciated. But I want to now go to this video of Andrew Tate. This is something that I don't think actually gets enough attention, is the fact that, and this connects to the war room, branding is a big thing with the Tate brothers and with their network. But it's also a big thing with human trafficking in general. Pimps and human traffickers brand a lot of their victims. So I want to play this video, which is Andrew Tate talking about how he gets the women and girls who work for him to be tattooed. So let me play that. Let me know. Can you hear that? Does that play?
Yeah, that audio is working.
All right, let me play.
Andrew, don't your girls have your name tattooed on them?
20 girls have my name tattooed on them.
And how many girls have your name on them now?
22. I got 20. I'm on 22.
22. Oh man.
He wanted me to get his name tattoo at all costs. He wanted me to tattoo his name on it.
Yeah, the branding actually comes up in the 86-page document that was obtained from Romania. Let me read part of that. It says the criminal activities of these defendants are a form of slavery, according to the prosecutor's office, like 19th century U.S. slave owners who branded their slaves with a red iron. Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate defendants brand their victims with tattoos indicating that they are the defendant's property. For example, they have tattoos with the message, owned by Tate.
A lot of these girls that are trafficked, their pimps will brand them to show ownership. It's a sign of ownership. And so they come here and we either lighten and remove them, or we have affiliates where they can go to get them covered with something beautiful. The tattoos can come in a form of a name, a symbol, numbers, dates, crowns. It all signifies the ownership of the pimp.
And that's why I teach in my course as well. Like, yeah, getting the girl, fucking the girl is the first 10% of the game. Having a girl tattoo your name on her, is the other 90%. That's about 90% of the tattoo game. I'll say to the girl, well, you're serious about it. She goes, yeah, I'm serious. I said, why don't you tattoo my name on it? She goes, oh, because we're going to split up. I said, well, I thought you were serious. Well, I am. Are you going to cheat? No, I'm not going to cheat, but you might cheat. So what? So if I talk to a girl, you're going to leave me? That's not. I thought you were loyal. Well, I am loyal. So then if you're loyal to me, you're a good girl. You do as I say. Why are we going to split up? Well, we're not. Then what's the problem with the tattoo? I just say to the girl, like, are we going to be together forever? She goes, well, I hope so. I said, well, I don't believe in hope. She says, yes or no. She goes, well, I want to. I said, well, if you genuinely want to, then why wouldn't you get a tattoo? So when a girl refuses to get a tattoo, I'm like, well, why? Why wouldn't? I thought you were serious. Like, all the blame's on her. Take over everything. No one's driving my cars but me. It's like my women. Put my name on them. Like, done. Even though I don't want them anymore. They just fucking sit at home while I play with the younger ones.
Gosh, that's something. That you want to talk about ownership. There you go.
Yeah.
Can I say something? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Jump in.
Okay. The part where I was reading off what the prosecutor said in the document. I wanted to let everybody know that many of the things that they've included in the lawsuit, in the exhibits, etc., they are taking me explaining what Romanian case documents said and what prosecutors have alleged. And I've quoted them and I've read out of the documents and what they do. And I've even shared these in my Twitter feed or my X feed. And what they've been doing is they reframe that and make it look like I pulled that out of my ass and said that out of the blue. Or they'll take a screenshot of a Twitter post where I'm referencing a court document and they completely black out the court document, leaving the quotes or leaving what I'm saying, which is what the prosecutor said, by itself, making it look like I made that up, when in fact I'm actually referencing a document that they are completely blacking out. They've done that so many times throughout the lawsuit, and they know exactly what they're doing. You know, go ahead.
I have that right here with me. So this is one of the exhibits that they've used. So this is the defamation lawsuit that they've taken out against us. So this is one of the exhibits that they used, claiming that I've defamed them. So in this, it's in quotation marks. So they're claiming I've said the criminal activities of these defendants, Tristan and Andrew Tate, are a
and to
form
be clear,
of slavery.
I need to interject here and to be clear, this is from the lawsuit that was dismissed.
That's
so
right.
they filed a whole new list of exhibits, which are similar to this, but this particular one is from the case that was dismissed. I needed to add that clarity. Go ahead. Because they had, in the second case, they had the exhibits sealed, so we can't share them. Because they don't want, in my opinion, they don't want people to see how absurd their claims actually are.
Yeah. So here you go. Quotation: the criminal activities of these defendants, Tristan and Andrew Tate, are a form of slavery. Now they're saying I've posted this. This is what I've said, and this is defamation. Now let's actually see the post and see what they've done. This is the original post where I'm quoting: the criminal activities of these defendants, Tristan and Andrew Tate, are a form of slavery. Brand their victims with tattoos. That's the quote. And then here I am attributing it to the prosecutor's office. And as you can see, this is just like in the video that I just played, where this is the actual Romanian indictment where that quote comes from. So all I've done is quote the prosecutor's office, and they then have cut off the fact that I'm quoting the prosecutor's office, and then just taken the quote from the prosecutor's office and made it look like that's what I've said.
And they did this over and over and over and over and over again. And their second amended complaint, have you guys, I don't know what I missed while I was gone, but did you guys talk about the
No,
lawsuit?
I've been waiting for you to come back so we can cover the defamation lawsuit and actually talk about the timeline of that and what's been going on.
Okay. I guess we'll start at the beginning. They originally filed a lawsuit for defamation per se, civil conspiracy, alleging that there's this grand conspiracy on social media against them to harm their reputation and to harm them and to cost them business opportunities, etc. And some of the defendants were named. Some of the defendants were not named. So they were entered into the case as a Doe, John Doe, Jane Doe, Judy Doe, whatever they are. Jack Doe, I think was Gadget's name. And they went as far as even alleging that two completely different women who have been posting about the case are in fact, they're alleging that these two women who are in fact two of their alleged victims in the Romanian case who have conspired to defame them under these false accounts. So those women, and they first alleged this in the main lawsuit where he sued Jane Doe and her parents. And they provided identification to the attorney in that case to prove it was not them, it was not those alleged victims. And that was dealt with there. And they keep bringing the same allegation back. I think that's been handled 3 times now, if I'm not mistaken, to where it's been proven that that's not them. And they keep bringing it back, trying to frame it around this giant conspiracy around their alleged victims in the case. So it took us, the lawsuit was filed in May. In December, we finally got a hearing, and it was dismissed within 10 minutes. The case was dismissed within 10 minutes. But between March and December, the end of December, there were, I don't even know how many motions were sent back and forth, but it was substantial. And it cost, as you can imagine, tens of thousands of dollars, because everything they file has to be handled by an attorney. There has to be a reply. You know, if they submit exhibits, regardless of how ridiculous they are, our lawyer has to read every single page and figure out, okay, what's the purpose of this post? What did you mean by this post? So by doing this, you know, we rack up substantial legal fees, even though it's just a completely bullshit case, in my opinion. In most people's opinion, it's a bullshit case. But the judge dismissed it within 10 minutes because, A, Florida said, we don't have jurisdiction over these people. These people do not live in Florida. The Tate brothers do not live in Florida, and the people they sued do not live in Florida. But they sued in Florida, trying to piggyback on their main lawsuit in Florida, claiming that Jane Doe was somehow conspiring with us in this global conspiracy to ruin their lives. So number one, it was dismissed for lack of jurisdiction. And number two, it was dismissed for improper service. They did not serve anyone correctly. And if you were going to be part of a lawsuit, you have to be served correctly. They didn't do that. They had from March, they had substantial time to do that. They even asked for extensions to do that, and they still failed. And then number three, the judge said you cannot sue an unnamed defendant in Florida State Court. So within 10 minutes, the case is dismissed. But he did not, it's really rare to get a dismissal with prejudice in a defamation case, especially first time around. So what he did was he dismissed with what's called a leave to amend for named defendants only. Basically, he said, if you want to refile this lawsuit with the named defendants, not the Doe defendants, you can do so if you do so in good faith and you essentially provide evidence to convince the court of why Florida has jurisdiction over these named defendants. I believe they missed that deadline, and they asked for another deadline, and they missed that deadline, and they asked for another deadline. And the judge finally said, this is your last one. There are no more deadlines beyond this. And in the meantime, they filed an appeal with the appellate court in Florida against the Doe defendants. They want to be able to sue Doe defendants in Florida, even though the law says they can't. Then they filed a motion for reconsideration, asking the judge to reconsider his decision. Then they withdrew their appeal for the Does, and then the judge dismissed and threw out their motion for reconsideration. Then they finally filed the second amended complaint against named defendants only, and then they refiled the appeal against the Doe defendants. At the same time, they filed what's called a pure bill of discovery, and they sued X, the social media platform. They sued them, trying to unmask and get all of the personal information of the Doe defendants. Now, X is fighting that lawsuit on multiple grounds: lack of jurisdiction, improper. They failed to, I forget what the legal wording is, but basically they failed to present a viable case, improper jurisdiction, and all kinds of First Amendment issues. So X is fighting that, but we've also appeared in that as the Doe defendants, and we were arguing against that as well, because they used a dismissed case, which Florida said there's no jurisdiction here. And they used that case, filed a pure bill of discovery, and sued X and said Florida's the jurisdiction to unmask these unknown defendants. So Twitter's fighting that. That's ongoing. We're waiting for a hearing on that. The appeal is ongoing. We're waiting for a hearing on that. We don't expect a pure bill or the appeal to get very far. But even in the case of the appeal, where the judges say, okay, you can sue these Does in our court, well, they still can't cure lack of proper jurisdiction. So even if they're allowed to sue Doe, they still don't have jurisdiction over the Doe defendants, and they still haven't cured improper service. So now you have the Second Amendment complaint against Gadget and Nathan here, and against Matthew Jury, who was the lawyer representing 4 women in the UK who have alleged Tate of rape, or filed complaints alleging him of rape and sexual assault. They're suing that lawyer, claiming that he's part of a grand conspiracy. They're suing, I believe she's the vice president or someone high up at the National Center of Sexual Exploitation, claiming that she's part of a grand conspiracy. So that's all part of the Second Amendment complaint, and we're waiting on a hearing on that. What they did was they filed, in my opinion, another nonsense case full of conspiracy. And based on all the information I've seen, they've yet to prove jurisdiction. They've yet to provide any information that proves defamation and actual malice was used. And this time around, they submitted almost 4,000 pages of exhibits that our lawyer had to read. 4,000 pages. Now imagine a lawyer making, I don't know, $500 plus an hour, having to read 4,000 pages. And people wonder, well, why is it costing so much? Because of this bullshit. Because they're doing stuff like this. They want to drag this out, in my opinion, and try to hurt us financially because they know they can't win. Because even if this went to trial, even if the skies parted for them and it somehow went to trial, which it would never do, but even if it did, they can't prove what's called actual malice in regards to defamation, which means because they're celebrities, there's a higher level of defamation involved. And defamation is stating a false statement of fact. So with actual malice, because they're celebrities, they have to prove, I mean, the burden of proof is on them, that we knew that what we were saying and posting was false when we said it, or we acted with complete disregard for the truth. The burden of them is on them to prove that we said these things with actual malice, which is 100% impossible to do because we used actual legal documents to say everything that we say, to form our opinions. We used Tate's own videos to form our opinions. And in many cases, we were referencing Romanian legal documents to form our opinions. And yeah, I mean, they can't win this case no matter what. And this time around, I believe we are asking in the Second Amendment complaint to dismiss with prejudice. It's rare to get with prejudice for defamation. We may or may not get it because at this point they're essentially, it looks like they're ignoring court orders because they did not bring a good faith argument. So we'll see what's going to happen. But as you can imagine, this is very expensive fight, even if it's a bullshit case. And we still have to fight it because if we don't fight this, they get a default judgment that basically says they won. So, yeah, they put us in. Andrew Tate is on video talking about how he does this to people, how he will sue people forever. Oh, yeah, go ahead and play that video.
I got that right here. Let me play it. And just a reminder, the banner down the bottom is the fundraiser. That's the link there. So you can read that original lawsuit. You can see the how long this has been going on. But you can also donate. Let me play this video of Andrew Tate. Now, mind you, this is the guy who says that the Matrix is attacking him and lawfare is being used against him. So here we go.
I was all about trying to get paid. Like I used sex as a tool to make.
Sorry, that's the wrong video. 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'll pull up the.
It's a good video though, that one.
It's a good one. Maybe we can play that after.
While you're grabbing that one, oh sorry, play that then if you got it.
No, you go, Gadget. It's all right.
Okay, I was going to say, Crowns was talking about the Doe defendants and the named defendants, which myself and Nathan are. So yeah, I was initially listed as Jack Doe, as a Doe defendant, saying that I'm anonymous and hiding my identity. Since 2023, here in Australia especially, I've been appearing in the media, showing my face on camera, using my full name. Like, I'm not anonymous.
Oh, yeah.
I appeared on 60 Minutes Australia with Nathan, with MilkBar, because we were on 60 Minutes Australia, national TV, talking about this stuff. And it was only until the amended complaints that they said, this is Nathan Pope. So suddenly I was a named defendant when I wasn't anonymous the whole time, and they were saying I was. So that just showed Like, it would have taken literally a 20-second Google search, who is the YouTuber Gadget 440, and my name would have came up. So
zero due diligence whatsoever.
Yeah. No effort put into it at all.
Let me go a step further. In addition to stating that named people were hiding their identities, they're claiming that everyone they're claiming everybody involved uses evasion tactics to try to defame their clients and hide and all of this stuff. We have a right to be anonymous. Everyone has a right to be anonymous. Elon Musk has said that too. Twitter says that. You have a right to be anonymous, especially in the United States where they chose to sue people. So choosing to be anonymous does not mean that you were hiding. Those are two totally different things. Concealment is completely different to being anonymous. Choosing to have an anonymous profile. Legally, those things are two different things. But they even went as far as to go into Twitter spaces. And there was one in particular, and they have a transcription of this entire thing. And the Twitter space was from one of the Doe defendants being sued, and a couple of other Doe defendants were in there before they were sued. And the title of the space was about somebody named Ben, completely unrelated to the Tate brothers. He was a guy who was talking to all of these women, and they were alleging in this Twitter space that he was lying to them through DMs, claiming that he was in contact with all of these alleged victims as part of the case, and he was a journalist, and he was using that as an end to communicate with these women, and come to find out, according to these women, that he was in communication with some of their ex-boyfriends, and the whole thing was just really shady based on this conversation. And it was about Ben. And the entire part of that, the entire space was about him and how he was, according to them, lying about his involvement in all of this. And the women had an entire conversation about how they need to protect themselves against online predators and people trying to, get in their DMs. Basically, it was like it ended up being like a PSA for how women should protect themselves on the internet and how not to be so trustworthy. So they took this entire space that's even titled about somebody else and reframed it and took sections out of this space and reframed it to say that the entire space was made to defame their clients and to discuss how they can work as a group to conceal their identities so they can continue to defame their clients. Just absolute monumental levels of bullshit. And that's that's one of the exhibits in the new case.
Well, it's also important.
It's just insane.
It's also important to point out that there are a lot of bigger accounts that have been saying a lot worse things than us. But also that Andrew Tate, specifically with you, Crayons, and Gadget, you two actually spoke to Andrew and Tristan Tate on a space. And over again, they've repeatedly said this, where they love what you're doing, Crayons and Gadget, because you're keeping the cases in the public attention. So, they're getting more and more public attention. So outwardly they're saying, oh, they love their haters. They love them. But what they're actually doing is suing them in court because, they see these smaller accounts who are accurately covering the ongoing criminal cases as a real threat to the narratives that I believe that they're trying to push.
Well, yeah. Here's the bottom line. They don't want their case documents and the details involving their charges and allegations made public. They don't want that information getting out there. And they know that some of us are able to get that information and translate that information and, decode that information in a way that we can explain it to, or whoever explains it. Like these guys are so petty in the lawsuit, just because I say we, right? I say we a lot because I come from a business background where it's, you're sitting around talking with people and you include people, we this, we that, we this. So they like to hang on the fact that I say we because it means like some sort of grand conspiracy. When I'm just speaking like a normal human, right? People who are covering the case, people who are covering their bullshit, people who are, digging up their old videos. It's not a conspiracy. It's not a team. There's no coordinated effort. It is people with a shared interest. You know,
I mean, they've also alleged that we're part of, you know, the British intelligence.
Yes, they said I was a DCOD agent. They said I worked as a DCOD agent. That was good.
Yeah. They also,
So silly.
I mean, you want to speak about defamation? They also claim that they figured out your identity, Crayons, and that you're a.
Yeah. So they found this guy who was incarcerated in the United States. I forget the state. But they put his picture up and they put his charges up. He was in jail or prison, actually, for like pedophilia or child-related sex offenses. And they did this huge offensive. And Tate was involved in terms of like boosting that. He would comment under it and boost it and say, yes, that's true or whatever. And they were telling everybody that I was a convicted pedophile. That is, without a question, a slam dunk case of defamation per se. 100%, like that is a slam dunk defamation per se. And they were all involved in that. So, yeah.
Let me
every accusation is a confession with those guys. Everything they blame everybody else of doing is stuff that they seem to be doing to others.
Yeah, if you want to talk about lawfare, here's Andrew Tate right here. I'll play this.
You can't hide in this world. It took all of 3 minutes to get all the information. And as for litigating his parents, I don't need a reason. You're going to have to defend yourself regardless. That's the thing about the American legal system. You cannot ignore it. I don't care if it costs me $1 million to take $1,000 out of your bank. You're going to be in court twice a month for the rest of your human years. I don't care. I will sue you for any and every reason forever. And you're going to have to hire lawyers and turn up forever. I will do that. I'm that guy. I'm petty. I'm petty and I've got a lot of money and a lot of time. So it's not even about guilty. It's not about why. It's just about because I can. It's one of many, many things I was going to do. I'd buy the property next to his father's Airbnb and list it for free. I will bankrupt you. You don't understand the levels I will go to. I'm that guy. And he felt it because people turned up at his door. Once I had his address, I started putting, I didn't want to get banned from Twitter. Obviously, it happened in the end anyway. Yeah. But at first, I put his street name. Then I put his house number. And then when guys turned up at his house, I had to fly some friends of mine from Vegas to LA. Like, I had to spend money on this shit. This took time out of my life. When he looked out the window and saw the SUV, then he starts apologizing on the internet. Like, oh, bitch. I still might litigate him into the fucking ground. Why not? What else have I got to do? Anybody could run their mouth to me. I can do the same thing to them. I've turned up at dudes' houses before. I put it on Twitter.
Yeah.
I do this.
Yeah, and like you said, it was 10 minutes, and it was dismissed.
It was dismissed in 10 minutes.
Prejudice.
So Button's entropy says, and the court agreed. No, and see, so here's what's going on. In the United States, and I can only assume that's why they choose the United States as their battleground here, because it's so easy to, in my opinion, abuse the system. As you just heard Andrew Tate talking about, he'll sue somebody in the U.S. because they have to deal with it. There's something called the merits of the case, right? There's a procedural step, meaning, you know, does this state or venue have jurisdiction over the people who are being sued? Do we have jurisdiction over this case? Is this the proper place to sue this person? Has everybody been served correctly, right? You want to make sure everybody was served correctly in accordance with the law. And you have to make sure that everything is legally sound before you go to the next step, which moves into discovery. And that is where both sides start questioning each other, start sharing evidence that they have for and against, etc. And then if they make it through discovery, and by the way, most civil cases never make it to trial. Even the ones that technically might go to trial, or they should go to trial, most of them never do. Most of them end with what's called a summary judgment, or they end up getting dismissed later after they go through the discovery process. But the court has to treat the plaintiffs, in this case, it's the Tates. The court will treat what they allege as true during the pleading process. So during the process where they're making all of these claims against us, the court assumes that everything they say is true. Once you get into discovery and the evidence is shared on both sides, once the judge sees that we've actually been quoting Romanian documents and we've been paraphrasing and sometimes direct quoting prosecutors, and we've been referencing Tate's direct videos, then the judge can come to a different conclusion. But until that point, they assume all of the pleadings are true. If they've been legally pleaded and they've convinced the judge that they've been done efficiently or effectively. So the judge has not said, yes, that's good for my courtroom. We're going to let them get away with this. The judge has never said that. So far, the judge has just been determining, does Florida have jurisdiction over these guys and girls and women? And have they been served properly? And can you sue an unnamed person in my court? And he ruled you cannot sue an unnamed person in my court. He's already ruled that Florida does not have jurisdiction over them. So now the brothers are trying a different conspiracy angle, trying to prove to the judge that they have jurisdiction. So once all the procedural steps get done, if by some freak chance the case still survives, then the next stage would go to discovery. And that's probably where the case is going to end once they see all these allegations where they're actually coming from. So no, the court didn't agree. The court's just going through the motions. A lot of the stuff with civil courts is you're going through the motions. One side makes an accusation, the other side replies, the other side file a different motion, and the other side has to reply. And it's just loads of back and forth. And the courts, you don't go to court every day. They filed their original lawsuit in March of last year, March, and we didn't get a hearing until December, late December. So I mean, that's how slow the process is. It's painfully slow.
I want to give a massive thank you to Kim Wexler, who donated $2,000 to us.
Oh my God! Thank you so much.
So I was hoping that we would hit $60,000, and so we've blown past that now. So now we're over $61,000. So I know Kim Wexler. She follows me on Twitter. She's awesome.
Yeah, long time supporter of us. So shout out Kim. Thank you.
So massive thank you, Kim.
Yeah, Kim, thank you. And I want to say this, and this is my opinion. I don't know who agrees with me. This is me speaking by myself here. I believe that this fight, the things that, and I'm going to speak an I for once. I believe the things that I'm sharing, the information that I'm trying to decode for the public, the fight that's being fought here, I truly believe this is a fight of good versus evil. So I truly want to thank everybody who supports us, either financially or through sharing our Give Sing Go page, retweeting us, verbally telling people what we've learned. I just wanted to thank you, all of you, for that. I mean, it means a lot, and it tells me that there are good people out there, and there are other people who see this as a good versus evil fight. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, and this is one of the unfortunate things where, I can very confidently say that none of us ever started doing this for attention.
Right.
And so even the fact that we need to fundraise and draw attention to this, and to ask people to support us financially is never something that we set out to do. It comes out of pure necessity. So everything we're fundraising is just to be able to fight this lawsuit that the Tates launched against us. And so, that's where we always want to try and also just bring attention back to the alleged victims. And for people to realize that these are real women who I believe absolutely horrific things happen to. And that, when we see Andrew Tate getting arrested, and hopefully when we see the criminal justice system in action, that we think about the alleged victims, because for some of them, they've waited, potentially over a decade to see this. So it's important to remember that.
Yeah. And, I don't care what someone's opinion is of us doing this, or raising money. My comment gets filled like, oh, you begging, it's all Tate bots and, low IQ kids that follow them. Like, oh, you're begging. We're fighting millionaires with unlimited resources in court who have filed, I believe, a frivolous lawsuit that will once again be dismissed in 10 minutes as soon as the judge actually looks through it. And this time it might be with prejudice. And if it's not this time, then it will be the next time. Courts are generally very lenient when it comes to defamation cases. The only person who's ever been dismissed in all of these cases where they're suing people for defamation with prejudice was the Marine in the Jane Doe case, because you cannot sue a Marine for doing his duty. And the fact that they sued a U.S. Marine tells you where their stance really is on America. Now that the UK is after them, they're suddenly pro-America again, and they're Americans. I'm American at heart. I believe Tristan said it in a recent interview. But they sued a U.S. Marine, and they're on video, and Tate's on video talking about fuck America. The West is falling. Get out. Yeah, I ran away. Everybody should run away. Fuck America. These guys are chameleons, man. And I'll say this regarding women, really quick. I'll say this. You brought up the alleged victims. I know it's difficult for people to say, well, this is a political attack and they're just coming after him because of his influence of young men. Number one, he doesn't have that much influence over young men. Number two, nobody cares that he talked about COVID. No one cares that he talks about the establishment. Nobody cares about that. What they care about, and what these governments care about, and prosecutors care about, is that it's not just one woman, it's not two women, it's not even 4 women, it's not even 6 women. In Romania alone, prosecutors have alleged to have found 50 women. I believe it's even more than 50 women in Romania. Now there's 7 more alleged victims criminally in the UK, possibly, and we don't know that those are the same women who are suing him, but possibly 4 more after that. So, you're talking about very realistically, there might be 60 women involved in all of this at some point, regardless if you're a Tate fan or regardless of where you're at on this. At some point, you have to say, well, if it's 1 or 2 or 3, maybe they're just out for a payday. And I want to note that criminal cases are not about money. Criminal cases are about justice. Civil cases can be about money. It can also be about justice for alleged victims. But if someone's in it for money, then they would be filing civil suits. But at some point, you have to say there are so many alleged victims spread out across countries that there's a pattern here. Does that mean they're guilty? No, of course not. But it means that there's a pattern, especially when you have multiple alleged victims that have similar stories. They're all talking about, being choked unconscious or being hit while they're being choked, or that, they're alleging that he may have taken their money. There's allegations that he was blackmailing people. There's allegations from one of the case witnesses in Romania that they were blackmailing a couple of the other victims, threatening to tell her parents about what she was doing. So there's all these crazy allegations out there, and the vast majority of the women are not asking for any money. Some of them are, and if it happened to them, then I think they deserve that money. They deserve that money. But the rest, it's criminal allegations, and if it happened the way prosecutors have alleged, then I believe, in my opinion, that these guys should face fierce punishment for this.
I want to highlight as well that for me, and I think I've heard you speak about this, Crayons, as well. I started making videos about Andrew Tate after I believe I caught him lying about what he was indicted for with his Tucker Carlson interview. And that's when I realized, the more I looked into what the actual criminal charges were against him, and what I believe the evidence was, and how many alleged victims, all of the specifics with the criminal cases in Romania to begin with, the more I saw that Andrew Tate, what he was actually saying, it couldn't have been further away from reality. And on top of that, as we've covered, he's also suing one of the alleged victims, and
Yes.
has, I believe, made her life absolute misery. And I believe that the media was not actually doing its proper due diligence to find
No.
out what was going on. I believe that the Tate brothers were using the fact that they were being prosecuted in Romania to be able to muddy the waters and to be
Yes.
able to shape a narrative about what they were being accused of. And
Yes.
so I felt like that the people at large deserve to actually know the reality of what the accusations and the criminal cases against them were. That's how I started. I believe you're probably on the same case. So in a perfect world, we wouldn't be reporting on this. You know, in a perfect world, Andrew Tate wouldn't be, I believe, lying about this, and we just let the criminal justice system do its thing. But they have, I believe, lied about it, and they have, I believe, harassed their alleged, at least one of their alleged victims. So that's why I believe that, you know, it's been important to actually cover this accurately.
Let me expand on that, and I'll say there was one particular document, and it was a judicial motion which came long before the indictment. It came out in January of 2023, and it was a brief summary of all of the charges, and they had snippets of some of the evidence in there, and they had chat messages that had been extracted off of their devices. And keep in mind, these are forensically extracted chat messages that came off of their devices. So this isn't something where it's like, oh, well, maybe these are fake. No, these are forensically extracted by the authorities. And later, I mean, these weren't even contested. You know, people say, oh, well, those are fake. Anybody can make those up. They were never contested, ever. So they were authentic. And when I read through those chat messages and I was reading some of the statements from the alleged victims and some of the things that were said, it made me sick to my stomach. It made me sick to my stomach. And then you see what they're saying and talking about why they've been charged and what's really. We were charged because we help women go on TikTok. And it's like, okay, I'm reading a completely different document because, you know, there are allegations of rape and strangling women and, you know, allegedly trafficking them and assaulting them and trying to manipulate them. And I was just like, wow, like what a shit show this is. And then we got the indictment and we saw a even bigger page or a bigger scope of what was happening. And then it was just like, yeah, there's no turning back after this one. You know, I want to see this through to at least their first trial. And one thing we didn't cover, because you talked about, you know, Jane Doe, the alleged victim, who's an American. So the way that entire lawsuit went down was they sent Suleiman Ahmed to the United States to track down ex-boyfriends of this woman. Now, this woman is no angel. She has a very troubled past. There's no question about it. There's a 50-something-year-old man in prison right now. His name is Keith Fox. He was he was convicted and he lost his appeal. So he was convicted for raping her and another minor. She was 15 at the time. And this is the pedophile that Candace Owens tried to protect and not put his name out there when she was defending Tate and trying to smear the alleged victim. Because if people looked up his name, they would see that he was convicted of raping, and it's on photo. I believe her mom hired a private investigator. The whole thing was photographed, and the daughter was 15 years old. He was giving her drugs. The guy was convicted. Anyway, they sent Suleiman Ahmed to the United States to dig up as much dirt as they possibly could on this woman. Then they found an ex-boyfriend who just happened, wow, what a coincidence, used one of Andrew Tate's lawyers. His name is Thomas Maniotis in the United States, but we didn't know we didn't know his role yet, but he used Thomas Maniotis, and he filed a lawsuit against this girl for extortion. And come to find out, this individual had a sexual relationship with her when she was a minor. And apparently she threatened to go to the police and have him charged with statutory rape or whatever. So now he's suing her for extortion, even though for something that she allegedly did at a different period of time. So the first lawsuit gets filed. her ex-boyfriend out of the blue using Thomas Maniotis. A week later, Tate files his lawsuit against the same woman, the other alleged victim that's European, the U.S. Marine, and the two parents of the American alleged victim. And they piggybacked on the boyfriend's lawsuit, using it as some sort of evidence. Like, oh, this is happening in this case, therefore it must be true, so we're going to piggyback on this. And then, and by the way, Thomas Maniotis, once again, and then as a miracle could possibly have it, one of the alleged victims in the Romanian case, who just happens to be Tate's girlfriend, and I put that in air quotes, who has a giant tattoo down her arm that says Tate owned, who the Romanian prosecutor stated in documents that she was transported to Dubai after the raid, after she gave false statements to Romania, where she remains under control of Andrew Tate. The prosecutor said that, not me. So as a luck would have it, she then filed a lawsuit against Jane Doe and her parents, defamation and other things, and surprise, using Thomas Maniotis. And they all piggybacked on each other. And then they came around and they sued us for defamation using surprise, Thomas Maniotis, trying to rope Jane Doe into our lawsuit, claiming that we're all in conspiracy with her, and we're in conspiracy with the National Center of Sexual Exploitation, and we're in this conspiracy with Matthew Jury, a UK lawyer, a very well-respected UK lawyer, who is representing 4 women in UK who are alleging Andrew Tate raped them and who's suing him. So that's the chain of events that's happening in Florida. And all of those cases, except for one, is being heard by the same judge. So all of these things are piggybacking on each other, and it's just a convoluted mess. And they just keep alleging all of this stuff and filing all of these documents, and it all has to be dealt with. It's a nightmare.
But you end up sounding crazy when you try and because you're literally like it connects to Andrew Tate. Yeah. You then connect to Candace Owens' husband, to then somehow he's got people in the Trump administration who are pulling strings.
Nathan, if you go to my header picture on X, I have one of those boards where it's like here's pictures and here's string going to another. Yeah, pull that up. I did that as a joke because of all of this stuff that's going on. It's like to follow everything that's taking place, you feel like a crazy person because there's so many cases going in all directions and all these allegations going everywhere. Like you literally feel like a crazy person pointing at a detective's board, right? Trying to use yarn.
I never noticed Cobra Tate blocked you there.
What's that?
I never noticed that Cobra Tate blocked you as there.
Oh yeah. So I put that up there as a joke. I put that up there as a joke, and that's in an exhibit. They put that in an exhibit.
This is where I haven't been covering Andrew Tate much since the lawsuit. Also, things have been fairly quiet. For all the people who've been following me, or who've just started following me in the past year, how I got onto covering Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson was through Andrew Tate.
Yeah,
that's how I arrived there. The Candace Owens thing is crazy. It really is insane. You spoke about it. You touched on it, but yeah, she spent an entire episode where it was the same thing, where she attempted to reduce all of the Romanian criminal charges and proceedings, all of the alleged victims, everything, to this one Florida woman. And she just read off Andrew Tate's lawsuit against her like it was evidence. And then in that, she ended up defending 5 child groomers all over the age of the mid 40s up to, like you're saying, Keith Fox's 56 when he was with a 15-year-old, and he was criminally, he was found guilty, serving, I think it was over 16 years sentence he's serving
20,
now.
like 20 years.
20. I think he read 22 or 23 years. Yeah.
And he lost his appeal.
He lost his appeal. He's serving that, 2 minors, and Candace Owens went to bat for this guy because her husband is friends with Andrew Tate. and
So-
this woman is one of the alleged victims. It's crazy.
So Keith Fox, the guy you're talking about, he's trying to get his case reviewed again. He's trying to get his. I don't know. I just know that he's trying to get it reviewed, and it would not surprise me one bit. And this is my opinion. I'm speculating, but it would not surprise me one bit if you know who has fed him partial documentation or out of context chat messages or something else that they've also submitted to the Florida court to try to get him released, so they can say, "Ha ha, we told you she was falsely accused." That's my prediction. That's my prediction. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. If that
I mean,
were the case.
there was
opinion.
a long time. There was a long time I was trying to wrap my head around like what is the George Farmer, Candace Owens' husband connection to Andrew Tate? You know, what is this guy whose dad's in the House of Lords, who comes from, you know, the upper crust of the British like high society, who's worth an absolute fortune? What's he doing hanging out with this self-confessed pimp?
So check this out, Nathan. I'm glad. So you have a video where you have George Farmer saying that he was friends with Andrew before Andrew was Andrew. You have that video, and you clipped it and you uploaded it to X. And I'm glad you did that, because the original video has been made private.
Oh, interesting.
They made the original interview with George Farmer where he says this. They made it private so people can't see that. So he's trying to protect himself.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like. Yeah.
We'll start wrapping this up. I just want to, because I think more people are kind of jumping on in the US as it's in the morning, so it's becoming more and more of a reasonable time. But let's play. I want to play a video of Andrew Tate just with him, where I believe it's him self-snitching to the alleged crimes. So this is just a little refresher of Andrew Tate himself. Talking about these things, and then I just want to throw to a video with Tristan Tate, because Tristan's he never gets the spotlight, poor guy. So I just want to highlight Tristan Tate, because it's not just Andrew Tate who's the scumbag here. Let me just play this Andrew Tate video, just for people who, you know, for whatever reason, haven't seen this video footage. And trust me, there's plenty more where this came from.
I was all about trying to get paid. Like I used sex as a tool to make women love me so they'd obey me and live in my house to make me money. That's
okay, pause just for 1 second. What he just described, and I'm not saying he's guilty of it, but what he just described, if he actually did that is coercion to get women to work in the sex industry. If what he just said was actually done, and by the way, prosecutors are alleging that's what he actually did. I mean, he just described what a human trafficking tactic is. Anyway, go ahead.
In my house to make me money. That's what I wanted. So I was a pimp in that sense. Your goal is to inspire a girl to make money and give you the money. So the way you're going to do that is you have to have some element of influence. In the pimp game, you need to learn how to control her and retain her. You need to make her do as you say, and you have to keep her. Yeah. You have to keep her regardless, in spite of the fact that you cheat, you're busy, you take all her money, you make her do something she doesn't want to do, and she still has to stay with you. And I became a multi-millionaire. I did this by creating a webcam studio, by taking girls who didn't know how to be effective on webcam, girls who had never done webcam before, girls who didn't have the equipment, didn't have the know-how, didn't have the will, didn't have the premises, didn't have the ability to make money with this exchange. I created a system that allowed me to convince girls to do this, allowed me to retain 100% control of their income. I know how to make sure the girl can't run away, because once you teach a girl how to do this, she has the ability to make unlimited money from home. Why would she still give it to you? Why would she just run off and keep it all for herself? Her believing she needs you, and this is extremely important, because at the beginning she will need you, but then she won't need you. But you have to keep that fallacy, keep that dream alive that she can't do this without you, to ensure that she doesn't do it without you. How can she leave you? If you start making loads of money and the girl thinks, well, I want to leave and do this by myself, but you have the Twitter, you have the Instagram, you have the account on your phone, she can't do nothing. All she can do is as you say.
be in charge of her own phone contact with members who like her, you are setting yourself up to get scammed. And that has happened to me before. I went to the room, smashed the room up, told her I knew what she did. She sent me all the money, but that has happened to me before.
If you're not fucking the girl, she is fucking someone else. And that other person she's fucking is going to have the control over her mind as opposed to you. If she has like a really strong social circle and she really insists on something, they're going to have it. And it is in your best interest to get her away from this. All these things tie into isolating her and getting her away from the outside influence. Every outside influence is bad. All of them.
How many of them worked for us and didn't sleep with one of us?
One.
Is there one? I thought, who's that one?
The girl from Lithuania. She sucked your dick.
Yeah, she escaped, I guess.
I have to fuck her so she obeys me. I don't give a shit about having sex with beautiful women. I fuck them so they listen to me, so I can get what I actually want, which is not them. It's a means to an end. Every single Bond girl was exploited. That's exactly what I do. When I watch a Bond film and I see him basically pimp a bitch, to me that speaks to my heart. I've been there. I've done that.
I'd have sex with women to get their money. Yeah. I didn't want to have sex with them. I was trying to get the money.
How do I use these women to make money? Jesus.
Because that's what I did. That was my MO was find girls, make them love me, and make them work for me. And that's how I got rich.
Now, you know what's important to highlight with these videos is that Andrew Tate over and over again has said that these videos aren't being used in the criminal cases.
And they are. Surprise.
And they are.
Nathan, oh, good.
No, you go ahead.
Nope. You go ahead.
Well, I just want to pivot unless there's something just to Tristan, and then we can wrap up, because maybe Crayons, maybe you can highlight what Tristan Tate's being accused of in the UK.
Yeah, I'm going to go over him first, and I'm going to mention Andrew. And while we're doing that, because I know we're wrapping this up, I want to talk about what type of sentencing they could be facing if they're convicted. And I'm going to go by total counts here, right? So we had the previous charges from the first set of allegations, and now we have the new charges that have just come in. So I'm going to go through the total charges in the UK. Tristan Tate has 5 rape charges. He has 1, and by the way, 5 rape charges. Each rape charge carries a maximum penalty of life imprisonment. Each one. He has 1 sexual assault charge. He has 6 charges of assault or occasioning actual bodily harm. Let's see if I've got that in here. He has 2 human trafficking charges, and he has 3 charges of arranging or facilitating trafficking for sexual exploitation charges. That's Tristan. 5 charges rape, 1 charge sexual assault, 6 charges assault occasioning actual bodily harm, 2 charges of human trafficking, and 3 charges of arranging or facilitating trafficking for sexual exploitation charges. That's Tristan Tate. 17 total charges in the UK. Andrew's charges in the UK, he has 42 charges in the UK. He has 10 rape charges in the UK. Again, max penalty for rape, if you're convicted, is life imprisonment. He has 7 charges for assault or occasioning actual bodily harm. 7 charges. And that max sentence is 5 years per charge. He has 2 human trafficking charges. Human trafficking, max sentence for that is 14 years. He has 3 charges for arranging or facilitating trafficking for sexual exploitation. Where is that? I don't have that on here. He has one charge of controlling prostitution for gain. And that has a max penalty of 7 years. And he has 19 charges, 19 charges related to indecent images of a child and extreme pornography. That carries a max sentence of up to, for the child, for the indecent images of a child, maximum, depending on if it's just distribution or making it or taking it. So if he took it or he made it or distributed it, the max sentence is 10 years. If it's merely possessing, the max is 5 years. And extreme pornography, the max is up to 3 years. So if convicted, these guys are facing significant prison time if they're convicted. And that's the UK alone. That's the UK alone. It's possible if they're convicted in the UK and they go to prison for a really long time. I mean, it could be decades, realistically. And there is a situation where I believe they can get off after they've get out early after they've served 2/3 of their sentence. But even then, if they're convicted of these, even some of these, they're looking at some real time. So we'll see. This is going to be decided by a jury, and they'll make the ultimate call. And I believe the Tates have the right to appeal that decision. So I'm sure it's going to get drug out for as long as they can possibly afford to, because they obviously, if convicted, they would not want to go to prison. So yeah, this is a huge development that they've been arrested in the U.S. and they're going to be extradited to the U.K. Huge development.
Let me just get a couple of super chats. This is the first MilkBarTV live, so I'm apologize. I've just found where all of these are kept, so I'm just going to quickly go through them. But got a new member from Crestview 1. Thank you very much. I highlighted Edie before, so she gifted 5 MilkBarTV memberships.
Thank you.
We've got Paul2739 plan to do video on Fuentes support of Tate. I might do it because he has done a massive flip-flop on that. So I might highlight that. He was very quick to rush to defend Tate. They're friends, so look, Nick Fuentes doesn't have a lot of friends. Andrew Tate doesn't have a lot of friends these days. So it doesn't really surprise me that these kind of bottom dwellers rush to support each other. Truth Matters. Hi, Milk. My deepest sympathy goes out to you. Will you ever pursue legal civil action against Tate for slap? Maybe you can take that. Let me just... I'm just going to donation from C. Jane.
Here's...
Thank you all, guys. Maybe you can just jump on that one, Cranes, because we get that a lot. A lot of people ask about that.
Yeah, so here's the problem. People say, well, why don't you countersue? Why don't you do this? So in order to file a countersuit, in order to sue them, you have to subject yourself to that jurisdiction. So right now, we are fighting jurisdiction. We don't live in Florida. Nobody lives in the United States. Actually, the majority of the defendants don't live in the United States. Tates don't live in the United States. I mean, they technically do right now as they're sitting in federal custody. But generally speaking, they don't live in the United States. So in order to file a countersuit, you subject yourself to jurisdiction. That's why people say, well, why don't you, try to sue them for, lawyer fees, or why don't you go after legal fees and that sort of thing? Because we have to subject ourselves to jurisdiction to do so. So we're not in a position at this stage to do any of that. Now, if the judge, this Florida judge or any judge in the United States decides that jurisdiction has jurisdiction over any of the defendants, I suspect countersuits are going to start flying. That's when shit's going to get real. But unless that happens, no one wants to subject themselves to, U.S. jurisdiction. And for what purpose? You know what I mean? Like, they're just going to drag this out, and it's incredibly expensive to deal with lawsuits, and I think that's a last ditch effort. only if somebody wants to submit themselves to jurisdiction. Now, I'm just speaking for myself. I don't know if Gadget and Milk Bar have any interest in that in the future, or any other defendant in the lawsuit, but for myself, unless Florida or any other state claims jurisdiction over me, then I'm not interested in pursuing that. If they do, that's another story.
Ideally, in a perfect world, if we had the resources, that would absolutely be something that we would follow up. But this is where it's, again, we are not attempting to make any money off this lawsuit whatsoever. We're trying to make it go. We're trying to make it go away as quickly as possible.
Right.
So, yeah, and again, the banner down the bottom has the link to our fundraiser. So if you can support us, that would mean a lot. All right, I'm going to play this video of Tristan Tate. It's 4 minutes. I might not play it all, but this is just to give you a bit of a taste of Tristan, the other brother.
I'll tell you something about this cigar. It's like taking the virginity of a really beautiful woman. I get to have this experience and no one else gets to have it again. It is a little bit better, but the real pleasure is in the fact that somebody else would love to have this, and I get it. That's why this is good.
That makes sense. I'll give you that. I agree with that.
So 3 months ago, I met this girl in Poland. And the last picture I uploaded, and I didn't upload it yet. I uploaded it when you were watching.
Yeah.
I met her in Poland 4 or 5 times. I took her out. Virgin, 18 years old.
Yep.
Beautiful girl. Now you've seen the picture. You know what she looks like. What do you think? 8.5, 9?
Yeah. Easy.
Yeah, smoking. So I took my time. Time and words had to be wasted. Did all the bullshit I usually do. There was no hard close on her. I left, gave her a big kiss, said, I'm going to miss you, etc., etc. Flew her to Romania. The first 2 days I spent with her in Romania, I purposefully, hear me out, John, chess, ready? I booked her here for 3 days to fly here, okay? For the first 2 nights, I booked a hotel for her. And my assistant drove her to her hotel every night. I kissed her on the couch. Thought she liked me. She was into it. Georgiana's here. She's taking you home. First 2 nights, took her home. Third night, her flight was at 7 a.m. Baby, you may as well stay with me. Chess, setup. This is what it takes to fuck 9 out of 10 virgins. When you are in the true abundance mindset of you can have the pick of the crop. You can have the world's most attractive women. I mean, one of my main chicks has 200,000 Instagram followers, and I took her virginity when she was 17. It's an abundance mindset. Yeah. I have so many girlfriends and so many wonderful girlfriends and so many virgins. And this is an argument no one but me ever says. Every woman was a virgin once. And everyone's like, oh, all the women in this place are bad, and all the women in that place are bad, and all the women in that bad. Listen, if you get her before she's fucking sucked everyone's dick, you get a girl with a body count of 0. You could turn her into a good girl. This girl had a body count of 1. I had taken her virginity. 2 of the girls who were at that party, I had taken their virginities. So I took this girl's virginity. I mean, I know a virgin with webcams. Literally. I mean, she's not a virgin because I'm the only guy who's banged her. I'll say this in public. I only go down on women who are virgins. One of the girls I dated here, I famously said she was a 26-year-old virgin. And she was a 9. And people say, oh, no, I don't believe it. There's no such thing as a 26-year-old virgin. I'm like, okay, you think I, Tristan Tate, don't know a virgin when he fucks one? Like, seriously. Fucking give me a break. I fuck so many virgins in this country because virgins will take me 10 dates, 20 dates to fuck. People are like, how do you wait that long? I don't wait. Date, dinner, nice romantic time, go home, fuck one of my girls who I already have. Like, I'm not waiting at all. Yeah. I'm just putting the work in. I'm now uploading a picture right now in real time of last night's girl. She was a Polish virgin who I've been talking to for 3 months. Since Warsaw, and I only just fucked her recently. There's a new post up today. This was last night's girl. Polish virgin. So people say, oh, all the girls you fuck are hoes and this. I put the work in to fuck the good girls.
Yeah, she's awesome.
What do you think? 8.5, 9 to buy most.
Looks like a Polish Marilyn Monroe or some shit.
Yeah. 18 years old, man. 18 years old. Met her in Poland. Took on 5 dates and never fucked her. Until Romania last
I think my record is seven dates before getting a close, and that was fucking annoying. And then after that was the Polish chick too. And then she said right after that, she said, Well, now we have to be boyfriend girlfriend, or we can't keep having sex. So that was that.
Well, I would just say yes.
Yeah, and I was.
I'm a liar, bro. I'm a liar.
I think I was.
My
moving.
nature. I was a second man.
I'm a liar.
My whole life. Beautiful, big, natural tits. So cute, man. It hurt her at every moment that I was doing it, but it felt good for me. So who gives a shit?
I want to say this, that when I said this is a fight for good and evil, this is fucking exactly what I'm talking about. In my opinion, that is pure evil. He is a disgusting creature. And this is a fight against that. So if you are against that, please consider supporting our fight against that. There's a link in the description. And Nathan, there's also a super chat. I don't know if you see it.
Yeah, I just saw it. And I'll throw it to you, Crayons.
Okay. The super chat is, are there
you read it out, and if you can answer it.
Okay. Are the Romanians likely to drop their case if the Tates get sentenced in the UK? It's hard to imagine them keeping it open until they get released. I can't speculate what the Romanians are going to do. My own belief on this is my opinion that they coordinated this with the UK and the USA. That I think they're in up to their necks with these guys. Could they keep it open? It's possible. Alleged crimes like, or rather offenses for anybody, like human trafficking, I believe that doesn't expire there in terms of the statute of limitations. So they could technically keep it open, and given the resources that have poured into this, I suspect, I can't say for sure, but I bet they will leave it open, even if they know they're never going to do anything with it. Because if the UK convicts them, then Romania never has to do anything. They can sit back and say, we did our best, but we never got them to trial because the UK handled it. That's my opinion on this. I would imagine once they go to the UK, that Romania will probably stop spending resources on this, because at that point, there's no really any reason to continue to spend resources. And there's an argument stating that, well, Romania made an agreement with the UK that they're not going to extradite them until they're finished with their proceedings in Romania. Therefore, the US can't extradite them to the UK. That's absolute nonsense, and that's part of this false narrative that people are spreading already. The Romania can't dictate what the United States does, and the new charges were not part of that agreement. That agreement with Romania and the UK for extradition was only for that first warrant that went out. It has nothing to do with this second warrant that went out.
Point. I didn't think about that. Of course.
Yeah, it's completely different. It's a completely different set of charges. It's a different set of women. Romania has no say in this whatsoever. And even if they did, they can't dictate what the United States does. They are not Romanian citizens. They are dual citizens between the United States and the UK. So there's no scenario. And countries are usually hesitant to extradite people to Romania because of how harsh their prisons are. So it's incredibly unlikely that the United States or the UK would extradite them to Romania to stand trial first. I just don't see a universe where that's going to happen. And I don't believe the UK would have pounced on them right now if they thought that was even a situation. So my opinion on this is, again, speculating. I think all three countries coordinated this. I believe Romania made them feel safe and possibly filed these new charges and made them believe that they were moving forward with these things to make them feel safe, to make them feel like Romania kind of protects us because they're not going to extradite us now. Let them go to the U.S. And then I believe that there was a three-country agreement on that, a coordination to let them do that and then get them there. Again, this is all my opinion. I'm speculating, but when you look, I get access to lots of documents and I see lots of things coming out of Romania. And based on everything that was supposed to happen that didn't happen during a particular timeline, the only logical sense, in my opinion, is that they did coordinate this. Like, okay, let them go to the U.S., the UK. If you want to pounce, they're yours. That's
that makes sense to me. If the UK can prosecute them, then you're right. It means that Romania can save face.
Yes.
And
everybody wins.
Yeah,
everybody wins. And you have a scenario where the Department of Justice is also investigating them, and Florida's investigating them, and there's no reason to spend resources if the UK is going to handle this and they're ready to go to trial. So the UK is essentially doing the heavy lifting for everyone, and everyone gets to save face. Does that mean the DOJ will close their investigation? No, it does not. Does that mean Romania is going to back off? No, it does not. But I would say it moves Romania to the back of the bus, and it would put the United States in second if the United States decides to prosecute them, if that investigation goes anywhere, which we have no idea if it will. But I think UK is going to do the heavy lifting, and if they handle it, then they handle it. Everybody gets to, everybody wins, essentially.
Yeah, the Tate brothers, it's an amazing thing how the Tate brothers have, manipulated people into believing that somehow the more criminal charges from more countries, spanning a longer period of time with more alleged victims somehow means that they're more innocent.
Right.
When it's the complete opposite. And, as you always say, Crowns, they're in a world of hurt. And,
in my opinion,
not ending anytime soon.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe someone here in the chat can clue me in, but in my lifetime, I don't ever recall seeing anyone with such the magnitude of charges, horrific charges against somebody spread across multiple countries. I don't know of anybody else who's been in this situation before. And if I'm not saying there hasn't been, but I don't know of any. I mean, this is huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. And that's the thing for me. It's, the sheer amount of video footage alone of them seemingly confessing over the years, I have never seen ever in my lifetime.
These guys sold a course teaching their methods how to recruit women. And you've seen in the video what their methods are for how they recruit women. They sold a course on how to do it. For anyone to say that this is politically motivated or, there's no evidence, like you are delusional and you're living in an alternate reality.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they did it, but that it means they need to go to trial to stand up against these accusations. Because this is very serious.
We got Paul. The Trista video can be on Fuentes' white race vids. I'm not sure what that means, but I did find it funny that Andrew Tate, his race was put down as white. I thought that was.
I wasn't sure if he'd be happy with that or angry with he'd be happy with that because he's always talking about the white race like he's purely white.
Throwing up the Roman salute.
Yeah. And the flip side, he maybe wouldn't be happy with that because he seems to worship his father, who's the black parent. So he'll go on Candace. He'll go on Candace and say that he's being persecuted, like he's Jay-Z. And throw around the race card.
Yeah, right.
Is walking contradiction.
And then let's wrap it up. It's late for me here, but I have any word on the hearing when that's going to begin.
It may have already happened. It was supposed to happen today. I know usually they start that stuff in the morning and it just goes throughout the entire day. They're probably just waiting their turn. I know Tristan has been added to the registry now, so you can look him up. He has been entered into the federal custody registry there. I think it's the BOP registry. So he's been entered into that now. It may have happened already. So what's going to happen today is they're not getting into the merits of this. They're basically being told what is in the sealed warrant, and I believe the judge will decide if they're going to get bail or not, which is unlikely. There's always a chance, but it's unlikely.
I can see Common Sense Skeptic is here.
Amen.
So good to see Common Sense. Anything, just wrapping up, anything you guys want to cover?
Yeah, I want to say this. I know I'm being sued. I know they hang on every word that I say, and they try to reframe it into something nefarious and defamatory. But the truth will win. You cannot hide from the truth. You cannot hide from documented evidence. You cannot hide from forensically excluded chat messages from your phone. And judges and juries will have the ultimate say on what their fate is going to be. But whatever happens in court does not erase the videos where they talk about the things that they did. It will not erase the chat messages that they had that have been authenticated. None of that will get erased regardless of what the outcome is. So I don't know if my personal belief is I think they'll be convicted on some of these things. But even if they're not, I will still believe that these guys are major douchebags and a danger to society, in my opinion, based on everything I have seen so far through documented evidence, their own chat messages, and their own videos, and their old tweets. You know, if you want to see how they used to be, go look at all of their videos and the tweets they had under different accounts before April 2022. They were different guys before April 2022. Then they were raided in 2022, and one of the girls who worked for them, a woman who worked for them, is a former police officer, and it is documented in case documents that she was illegally accessing the police database and keeping tabs on the investigation on the brothers all the way up to the point when they were arrested in December. So he went on this podcast tour knowing he was under investigation and what he was under investigation for. That's when he started saying things like, oh, they can charge you for no reason and they can arrest you for no reason. They can make up bullshit charges. You know, step one, they'll cancel you. Step two, they'll make up charges. And step three, they'll try to kill you, whatever. So he knew that he was under investigation for all of this stuff. So, you know, you can't take away any of that stuff regardless of what happens in court. But I'm glad that justice is going to be done, whatever that means. If things happen to these alleged victims, I hope they get justice. If the brothers are completely innocent, then I hope they get justice. I hope they're exonerated. If they didn't do it, and the Matrix has truly attacked them. But I don't think that happens. Something tells me that the Matrix did not attack them. Call me crazy.
I encourage everyone to follow at Crayon Murders on Twitter. It's the best resource for the comprehensive coverage on what's going on with the Tate brothers, and there's going to be a lot going on over the next while. So make sure you're following Crayon Murders on Twitter.
I want to say one more thing that we didn't address, because I know we're going to close this out. We didn't address if their arrest and extradition and what's going to happen in the UK will affect our case or not. We didn't touch on that, did we?
Yeah, that's a good one. A lot of people have been asking that, so I'm glad you brought it up. Right.
So there is no legal mechanism that says because they've been arrested and they're going to be extradited and because they're standing trial in the UK, there's nothing that's going to void out their civil lawsuits against everybody. That's not going to happen. What could happen, and again, I can only speculate, they are going to spend a significant amount of money from this day forward. It's fighting extradition, which could last months up to years. Then they have to fight the UK case, and Lord knows what happens beyond that. So we are the least of their problems at this stage. If they want to continue to waste money and waste the court's time to try to punish us financially, they can do that. They're going to lose. You know, everything they're going to try with us ends with a loss for them. So if they want to waste the court's time and their own money to do that, to try to prove a point, they're going to lose. Knock yourself out. If I were them, I would spend 100% of my resources fighting extradition and building the best case I could to stop myself from going to prison for life. So none of the cases will be voided out, but if they do stop, it's going to be because they don't want to financially, they don't want to put money there anymore. It doesn't make sense to put resources into cases that aren't going to go anywhere, and it no longer supports their narrative. What happens in Romania moving forward is not relevant to anything. The whole grand conspiracy that they've been claiming is no longer relevant to anything, because now they have to deal with the UK, which has nothing to do with any of us. Not that Romania ever did, but their whole claim was we can all conspire together to ruin them in Romania, which didn't happen.
Yeah,
So,
my take is I see them continuing the lawsuit because I think, you know, as he said, they're just that petty that I think it's personal for them, and I think also.
It's stupid, but they might. Yeah, it's stupid, but they
also
might.
they, you know, we've seen them use the optics of, you know, we're suing Facebook for canceling us, we're suing these people here for defaming us, as a way to push the narrative of them being innocent and pointing to that. So
I have something to add to that, Nathan. Joseph McBride, their lawyer, is already pushing this false narrative that the UK attacked them and made up these charges to stop their defamation case in Florida. I have a feeling that they might drop at least her case at some point and then blame it on the UK. We were going to prove that she defamed us and started all of this in Romania, but the UK made us stop this case. We can no longer be part of this case. That's my prediction. I could be totally wrong, but I think that just based on his framing, it already sounds to me like they're going to use the UK as a reason to stop litigation towards her and blame it on the UK. We would have done it, but we had to stop because the UK made us do it. Something crazy. It'll be nonsense, whatever it is.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. I'll throw to you, Gadget. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, final thoughts in general, and just plug all your socials and accounts.
Yeah, last thing on just what you guys were just talking about, I agree that, in my opinion, they'll keep the lawsuit going for the reasons you stated, and also because, in my opinion, they are using hack lawyers who are probably costing them peanuts because, in my opinion, allegedly, they are members of their cult that would do it for free. So, so I think that's possible. Honestly, I think that's a factor. But yeah, as far as like all this news and everything, and I was just thinking about this and what my final thoughts would be, and I really think that our thoughts, and everyone, not just ours, but everyone's thoughts, should go back to, look, I believe that the Tates are guilty of these crimes. It's my opinion based on the available evidence that they have trafficked women and girls and just hurt and assaulted many, dozens. So I think that our thoughts should really be with the dozens of women who they've allegedly hurt. And I just really hope that this news has given them some relief, with them having to see these idiots just on social media, flaunting, bragging, mocking. So my thoughts are with all the women, and I just hope that they've got some relief and some sense of justice and some feeling that they won't be able to hurt more women, allegedly. And my socials are Gadget440. So especially, I'm particularly active on YouTube and X. You can find me there.
Great. We got anonymous person gave $20
Thank you
to the fundraiser.
Thank you.
Said hoping the scumbags go down. Thank you. So we're over 61,000. And thank you so much to everyone who's donated tonight and everyone who's donated since we put up the fundraiser. We really couldn't have got to this point without you. So I mean, we're so appreciative of everything. I've got a couple of super chats just quickly from Mackenzie Moore. Keep it up, guys. Tons of us in the US are behind you. Trying to get my Give Send Go open. I forgot. We'll send more when I can. Disability sucks. Thank you so much. You know, if you can't, if it's hard for you to provide financing, I totally get it. If you just help share the fundraiser and get the word out, that also helps. But I appreciate it.
Yeah. Please don't feel obliged to, if you're financially, and not just anyone, if you're financially doing it tough. All the support helps. Sharing, just showing your support, it all helps.
Absolutely, yeah. Nathan, thank you all. Thank you for all your hard work. So I just want to say thanks to everyone. This is the first live stream, so I've been trying to get my head around everything. So there's been some technical stuff I'm trying to figure out. But overall, I think this has been really good. I'm so appreciative of Gadget and Crayons being here. I want to try and figure out getting mods to help with people. I think maybe there's some people in the chat that may be causing some trouble. As usual.
We should do this more regularly once you get it set up, just to kind of keep people updated.
Well, I want to do this weekly. So I want to do this weekly. So it'd be great to have you guys come on regularly to do this. I'll mix it up. It's not always going to be the Tate brothers. I'll cover some different subjects, but right now with what's going on with the Tate brothers, it's I mean, by far this is the biggest development by far. In how long you reckon, Crayons? How long has it been since there's been a development?
It's been a really long time, and you know, like I said, I just want whatever justice means to whatever. I just want justice to be done. I don't want to see them just gallivanting around the world while trials are waiting for them. I don't think that's fair to anyone. You know, I don't think it's fair to the alleged victims. I don't think it's fair to the courts and the prosecutors. And it's not fair to them either. Like, everyone should get a speedy trial. Isn't that the thing? You're entitled to a speedy and just trial, right? So I'm sure they want to clear their names as soon as possible if they're innocent. So if you're innocent, which they say that they are, okay, then don't fight extradition. Go to the UK and clear your names. You're going to get a fair trial. This is going to be one of the most publicized trials in the UK in a very long time. You are going to get a fair trial. This isn't political. They know that. So if you are innocent, which you claim that you are, don't fight extradition. Go to the UK as soon as possible, stand trial, and clear your name. Because if you don't do that, then I'm left with the thought of, well, why are you fighting extradition? What are you afraid of? Now, the irony to this, hold on, ready? The irony to this, imagine if they fight extradition trying to stay in the United States and then they get charged by the Department of Justice. That would be fucking glorious.
But this is the thing.
What happened?
You know, people point to Romania and they say, why is it taking so long? And the fact that it's taking so long is proof of corruption and proof that there's no case against them. But the fact is that it's taken so long because
it's a huge case. It's a huge case.
But also because they've been dragging it out with appeals, which is their right. That's absolutely that's absolutely their right to appeal every chance they get. But they can't then turn around and say, why is this taking so long? You know.
Tristan has said multiple times. Tristan has said multiple times, they denied me a trial. What? They ordered the trial and you appealed that decision.
Yeah. You know, and they spammed the courts with enough appeals that they managed to find some technicalities. But yeah, so I expect them to do exactly the same thing. I think, I believe in this situation in the US. So yeah, I'm gonna start doing a weekly stream. I'll figure out the time zones as well. It was important to jump on this as it just happened. But I'll look at times and figure out what's best for everyone. Because there's a lot of got a lot of US followers. So yeah, I'll figure it out. Got a final super chat from A Rule. Nathan, your work has been invaluable. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Gadget, Crayons. I definitely want to do this again soon. So it'd be great to have you both back, and we can look at figuring out all the different areas that are worth covering, as well as all the updates to what's going on with the Tate brothers in the US now that they've been arrested and facing extradition. All right, guys, thank you so much, and I'll keep you updated with what's going on. Cheers.
Thank you, Nathan.
Everyone.
Thank you, chat. Cheers.
Thank you, everyone.
I'm right here in Miami. Come get me, arrest me, perp walk me, put me on the news, tell everyone I'm a human trafficker. You think I'm not versed? You think I'm not ready? I'm a Navy SEAL in this shit. Come get me, raid my house, take my stuff. You think I sleep with a full phone full of evidence? You think I don't wipe my phone every night? You think I'm dumb? Come get me, arrest me.
Breaking, Andrew and Tristan Tate have been arrested in Miami.